Is it raining there?
Yeah, it is.
Wow, I can hear it from here.
I know, I know. It's I guess it's extra loud because like right outside where I'm at, which is at the studio, the roofing doesn't have the what is that called? The ceiling, so it's loud when you can hear.
And you sound
And
different. What's
is it? Hold on.
you? s-
Is it? What do I sound like? Weird? It's
What? It hurts. That's what it
really.
sounds like.
Oh crap! Hold on,
Yeah, I
hold on, hold
mean,
on. Let me.
like literally, it hurts because it's just too loud. I guess.
Okay, hold on. I'll fix it. Hold on. Let me fix it.
Are you using a different mic?
Is this better?
No, I mean it's not the usual. I mean,
Okay, hold
you
on.
usually have a clear audio.
Okay, hold
You
on.
know, I mean, this would seem like you're using a very cheap mic.
Does this sound better? It's the same? It still sounds weird?
Not the usual. Not the usual.
Because like
It's really
what I
weird. I
did.
don't know if it's the rain or if it's with the mic. I am not sure, but
No,
it's
no,
very
no.
different.
It's a setup. It's a setup because remember I was trying to do I was trying to do this with my phone, and okay, I'll just remove this external mic then. Let's see how this
Right.
works. Better. It's still crappy, I'm sure, right?
It's still crappy.
Mm, there. This is crappy still, right?
Well, not as good as
Is it
before,
still
but
crappy?
it's better than.
But manageable?
Okay,
Still
keep
bad?
going.
Really bad?
What, are you using a mic?
Better? A little better?
External mic?
No,
I mean, yeah, if that's what you have, then
I
it's fine.
I have like an external. We'll just try to get through the episode of this one because I mean I'm in the studio and what I did was I don't have enough desk space, so I can't put my laptop and set it up because I put the PS5 here, so I have to remove the
Imagine,
PS5 and reclaim that for the.
imagine an AM show, and there's somebody calling.
Oh
That's how
crap!
you sound. I'm like
That's
the
how
AM
bad it is.
announcer. Yeah, I'm the AM
Yeah.
announcer, and you're calling and you're
Yeah.
giving me a report. You're not even calling. You're using like a two-way radio.
Okay, hold up. Hold up. Okay, hold up. You know the worst part is that I actually know what you're talking about because I've done this before, and I went on a Zoom. It was a Zoom meeting too, and the whole time I thought I was the mic was the one that was recognized, and apparently, yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. It didn't change anything. I know you
It's
pressed something. It didn't
it's
change. It's
still
still the same.
crappy. What the hell is wrong with this thing? Okay, hold on. Maybe I have to restart this for the thing to be acknowledged. I hate this thing. Anyways, I mean, I
You
can't
want to
believe it's
restart?
that bad. Yeah, I mean, I can't believe it's that. I can't believe it's that bad that even if I use a regular iPhone, like, because like we've had guests in, like we've had Judge D and all that. It wasn't that bad, right? So if it's terrible, something's up with my setup. I mean, it's just like the worst scenario is just my phone, and I'm not using like anything. I'm not
You've
attaching
used your
anything,
phone
but
before, right? You
yeah,
used
I've
your
used my
phone,
phone
and
before. Yeah,
I don't think it sounded the same. Like, all right, okay, there's somebody who's listening right now. Can you tell me if it's doable, like the way Rod sounds? Because I told him it's really bad. It's like I'm an AM announcer, and he's calling in to report um, some news from somewhere using a two-way radio,
yeah. Here's the thing: like
right?
most people, I'll set up the Mac. Most people are like won't even know the difference. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like because they're not radio people. And then I think the good and the bad side to us being radio people is that we are very specific. See, I get this mic attachment thing for the
Right.
phone, and when I
Mhm.
record videos with it, it sounds great, like much better. It takes off the background noise, and it's a fuller sound. But I'm trying to figure out why it doesn't work quite as well with like a streaming. So it's not. It's probably not a streaming mic. It's more of like a recording mic. Um, because I think there are differences to that. And so I bought this, and this one, if I do videos, like if I do, whatever, I record a video and then I upload it on YouTube or whatever later, it sounds great. It sounds much better than just a regular iPhone mic. But through streaming, it doesn't really improve the quality or do anything to it. So I don't know. I don't know how we can. I'm trying to figure out how we can get good audio with the what's it called? With the can I have like a multiple? Can I join more than once? But you just
Yeah.
won't show my face on the other one? Because the
Right.
difference is I like the iPhone camera. I don't like the camera of my MacBook. It's just because once the lighting's not good, it's super really bad. And so like I have to there's a compromise. Like I have to sacrifice one thing. So if I have to have good camera, I have to have crappy audio. But I'm trying to figure out how I cannot get crappy audio using the iPhone mic source because it shouldn't be that bad, I mean, it's not obviously quality
Is it
level
just
of
your
like
phone right now? Are you just like using your phone?
this is just my phone, but it might be picking up the mic. The mic might be coming from the AirPods. The AirPods mic is not really that good. The iPhone mic is good, but I'm trying to mess with the settings, and when you go to the audio, I'm using the iPhone microphone. It's clicked on. So hold on, maybe that one does that make any difference? I mean, echo cancellation. I don't even know if that helps. Can you hear me?
Can you like can you try not using the headphones and just like talk? Like if you lose the
Like
headphones,
like
try
disconnect.
talking. Yeah, like lose it and try like so that we can so that we'll know if it's because of
Okay.
that.
Yeah, I think it
Right?
is. I think this freaking AirPods just ruins the whole thing. But the only problem is when I do like turn this thing off, like I won't be able to monitor your voice, or yeah, I won't be able to monitor you if I attach an external mic. It kind of mutes it automatically. So I have to use the AirPods. But let's see. Okay, I'll turn it off. All right. I don't even know how to turn this off. I have to turn it off. Like I have to get out of here. So hold on. Okay, I'm back.
That's actually better.
Am I still there?
Yeah, that audio is better than when you were like, all right, okay, he's gone. He's gone. He's gone. He's gone. He's gone. Oh why? Oh why? Oh my god, Rod is gone. Oh why? Oh why? What's that song? She's gone. Let's check it out. She's gone. It's an old song. Hamilton's? Really? Is it Anthony Hamilton? Anthony Hamilton. She's gone. The Hamiltons. I think Hamiltons. Is it Holly Notes? All right, hang on. Waiting for Rod. Right, okay, there you go.
You sound so funny, man. Hold up.
I'll disconnect once I'm connect. I'm trying to connect on this one already. So hold on.
Hall and Oates song. All right, so Hall and Oates, not the Hamiltons. She's gone. Oh why? Oh why? I play the devil. Oh why?
You sound like a chipmunk, man. What the heck?
I do. That's why the kids laugh at school. I start
Can you hear
singing
yourself?
this voice,
Can you
and they'd
actually,
be
can you
like,
actually hear yourself?
"Yeah, like I think I know how it sounds." Steady,
You sound like a chipmunk, dude.
steady.
The question is which chipmunk?
They like laughing, and then after I sing the chants, because we have like chants.
All right,
in,
hold up.
you
Give
know,
me a minute.
in
There
the
you go.
class.
I'm gonna
I
be
change it.
connecting.
All right, good job,
Man.
very nice, good song.
That's what I'm saying.
And they'd be like laughing.
Audio
because
issues. Hold
I'd
on.
be singing in a different voice. Anyway, right? It's a Thursday. It's rainy there. It's rainy here. I don't know, man. I mean,
Maybe
the
I should just
world
have
is
like
gone
maybe I should just have the
berserk with all these, with all these things happening. People getting shot on the street. Weather's just crazy.
what the heck?
Gas prices are going up. What the hell's going on?
Okay. All right, I'm gonna hook up, but leave
It's
this
actually so
camera
much
on,
better.
and
No,
I'm
it's
just
so
gonna
much
mute.
better.
I'm gonna mute this one, and then
Right.
I'm gonna connect on the other one.
All right, hang on.
Right. So it doesn't matter. I'll just turn this off.
All right.
So connect me with this one.
All right. Okay. Now you sound crazy. No, you're back to being.
It's worse.
All right.
Worse. Hold on.
Okay. All right. No. It's all right.
Hold
Okay,
on. Let me
cool.
check. Let me check. I gotta check. Mic test. All right. There you go. It's good.
All right.
It's all good in
So
the
are you still
neighborhood.
connected? Can you still hear me? Like no delay?
Yeah, I can. I hear you perfect now. It's all good now. It's perfect now.
All right.
Yeah, it's perfect now.
But you're right. You like the other one was like a better video. This one's like
Much
your,
better.
Your laptop.
See, that's the thing. See that's the dilemma right there. It's like I use the laptop. It's like I look like crap. Like it's fine if it's like a Zoom thing, but if it's like for a show, you gotta have kind of a better video quality than what a Mac. I mean, if it's
But you
daytime,
were
it's
already
fine.
doing okay earlier. So what happened? Like, why did you have to like?
No, wasn't it
change the
so bad?
connection?
Wasn't it bad? You said like it was bad.
No, it was already okay. I was like, all right, it was already fine.
No, but you sounded terrible.
So I sounded terrible there.
You sounded like a chipmunk. Did you hear me? I was saying you sounded like a chipmunk. Did you hear that?
I was like trying to sound like a chickmunk. Like
No. You really sound
like
like
the
a
normal.
like there's
okay,
a,
all right.
like there was like a glitch or something, like an effect. It didn't sound like
Alright.
you tried to sound like it. So I was
Okay.
like,
So even if I was just like talking, I sounded like a chipmunk, not because of
yeah, it was like
okay.
it was going like that. Unless
Steady,
no, not like that. Not like that. It was really bad.
All right, okay. All right,
So
really bad. All right.
and I don't think I sounded as good as I do now, right? Like not as clear as this one, right?
That's
still,
yeah. I mean,
this is still loads
it
better.
was better. Like earlier was, I mean, it was worse. Then got better. This one's the normal one.
Yeah, that was just the iPhone mic, like just the normal mic. So I don't know, man. I'm trying to figure it out. I mean, we do want to sound good because I mean, we were DJs and people might expect us to like sound better than other people who do podcasts and stuff. So audio is still like a premium to us. And I'm not gonna, but I guess if given a choice, would you rather sound good or look good? Well, heck, if it's just audio, of course it sound good. But if there's a video, man, like because usually what happens is when people see a preview of your video, or if they're scrolling through their Facebook page and they see you, like they scroll through you, they won't really hear what's going on yet. I think it's automatically like on mute, but they'll see the video playing. So, if it looks like crap, they're probably not going to click it. So I think it's really important that we have like good video, and this is passable. The iPhone video is already passable, but unfortunately, I can't quite figure out how to get good audio, even with an external mic. Even though StreamYard recognizes it, the name of the mic actually appears on the settings. So that's you know I do not know, but anyways. So we're talking about advice, right?
Right.
And we have Jasper Fernandez, the perfect guy. This guy, you know what? People underestimate him. They think all he does is like, just get rich and like spend money on expensive bikes and all that stuff and talk about, pretty girls. But no, this guy, you can talk serious with the dude. Actually get really serious with the guy. So we'd love to hear his side if he has any that he wants to share. Words of wisdom. Um, if it's bad advice, is it still an advice, or should an
Yeah, but
advice?
it's a bad one.
I know, but shouldn't be an advice automatically be something that's like good? Otherwise, it's more of like a suggestion or an opinion, right? Like if I'm gonna give someone an advice, I'm not gonna give them a bad advice, like right? Otherwise, it would just be like it would be just like an opinion, a statement, or like a suggestion. Or not even a suggestion. A suggestion should even be like a good thing, right? I mean, by default,
Oh, it's
I
a
think.
suggestion. It can be bad. It can be good. So I think it's the same with advice. It can be bad. It can be good.
Yeah, it's a suggestion is right, yeah, but like let's say an opinion or a statement or I would say like a
Like
command
opinions, there are good opinions and bad opinions.
yeah, but the thing with an opinion is it's not meant to be anything that's like that you solicit someone for like
Right.
as
But
a,
it's the
as,
same
as
thing. If you ask somebody for an advice, you don't have to do what they tell you to do. Like if they give you an advice, the final call is up to you. You have to decide on it. Like if you think it's bad, then like, you reject it. If you think it's good, then you heed the advice. I
so
think
so the good
that's
and bad
what it is.
aspect of advice, the good and bad aspect of
Well,
advice is
is
like
there a negative term? Have you
it's
do you have
dependent
because
on
I don't have anything on top of my head. Like, is there something that you can replace it? Like, if it's a bad one, then it's not an advice, and then what do you call it?
like I know that's what I'm thinking too. So that's what I'm trying to figure out because I'm thinking
Right.
if it's an advice, I mean, I'm not saying that's how it is. I'm just saying like logically, if you think about it, if you use the term advice, if you're gonna give an advice to somebody, it should be usually it should be positive, right? And I think it just becomes bad advice if it's not applicable, if it's not the best advice or best suggestion of action to take given the situation. But I think most of the time an advice is really intended to be something that's helpful. I mean, I wouldn't call it like, for example, I can say something to somebody like, hey, break up with your girlfriend. Like, that wouldn't be an advice. That would be like an order. That would be like a statement. That would be, it wouldn't be an advice. Um, you can't even say it's a bad advice. A bad advice would be like, maybe you should try other girls before you commit to your whatever. It sounds like a bad advice, but it actually can make sense. Depends on the situation. So I think a bad advice is more of like it's not really intended to be a bad thing. Like go kill someone. Like okay, is that an advice? Like if somebody tells you go kill someone, I mean I don't think that's an advice. I think that's like a brain like I don't know. I don't know what that is. There's got to be like a term for that, right? I mean I wouldn't even consider that as an advice. Like, you got to
Oh,
be
that's a
stupid if
crime. I think
I
that's a
know,
crime.
I know. So
It's
that's what I'm
not an advice.
saying.
That's a crime.
If it's committed, but if someone just saying it to somebody, it's not necessarily a crime. Like it's not a crime to say somebody like go kill someone. That's not a crime,
Well,
right?
yeah,
It's
it's
just like
not. But I mean, if the thing actually happens, then it becomes a crime. I mean, not at that point, but still, why would you say
yeah,
that? Go
yeah.
kill someone. I'm like,
I
what?
know, but that's exactly what I'm saying. So there shouldn't be really such a thing as a bad advice, right? Because
No, there can be a bad advice. Like for example,
like go kill
no, I
someone,
mean
right? There you
it's a
go.
word. It's like doing something like Advice is like what? A verb? It's a verb, right? Is it a verb?
I do
It's
not.
like an
Don't talk to
action
me
word.
about
Like you're
stuff like I'm not
advising.
good with
So it's like that's a
You were the
verb.
English teacher. You're the English teacher, right?
Dude, I'm not licensed. What are you talking about?
Enlighten us.
But yeah, I
All
mean
right.
advice, it's an action word, it's a verb, but so it can be anything. I mean advice, how can you categorize it? Like I said, an opinion, it can be bad, it can be good, right?
Yeah, but an
It
opinion,
can
an
make sense, it
opinion,
can
an
it
opinion
can
can
make
just be like
it
a
can not
sweeping
make
statement.
sense.
But an opinion is like just a sweeping statement. It's like I could just say like, "Oh, I'm bored," like, or like, I want to whatever burn this toast or whatever. It's a statement. It's not meant to improve or assist or rectify it. It's not. An advice is supposedly like you don't ask advice from somebody who you don't think is in a position to assist you in your predicament. So if somebody gives you a bad advice, it's not necessarily like a bad advice like go jump off a cliff. It's more of like an advice that's not the best action suitable depending on the situation to take. So maybe it's a poor advice but not necessarily a bad advice, because for me, if it's something bad that somebody says to you, I would not even consider it as an advice. I would consider that as like
What
I don't know
what
what
would you
it is.
consider it
I
as?
know that's what I'm thinking. It's like it's got to be a term, because the word advice, it's like for me it accompanies automatically an intent to assist or to help out. You know, it should not be like a bad intention because it contradicts the statement, right? It's more of like maybe the suggestion probably can be even maybe that can be more applicable to like someone saying suggesting something bad for you to do, because suggestion is just a suggestion, it's not really an advice. Like an advice, like like an advisor, right? The position of
But
someone who's
it's
an
the same.
advisor,
Like
the
it's
advisor is
worded
usually a
differently.
position of authority or someone who is you know who
Why
knows.
would you get a suggestion from somebody who's not, I mean, would you ask suggestions from people you don't trust? Like,
Exactly.
okay,
Exactly.
can you
That's why there
suggest a
shouldn't be bad
product that I
advice.
like, right?
That's why there shouldn't
This
be
is
a bad
still advice.
advice. That's what I'm saying. That's why there shouldn't be a bad advice, because you're not supposed to ask from somebody who is not in a position to give good advice. So, the, right? So it's like there's a good suggestion and a bad suggestion. I think a suggestion is just a suggestion. I don't think the person really thinks much about helping
But
out
then
the
again, it's
person.
the same with advice because you can just reject it any time. Like I've given advice to people, like break up with that person. Like, okay, that can be bad for the other person, the one that he's
Exactly.
with. That could be bad for her. So
Or for him.
that could be qualified as yeah, it could be bad for him, but it actually, if you think about it,
Yeah, but it's
it could have been good for him, right? I mean, we wouldn't know.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant. That's what I said. Like if you think about a bad advice, maybe in situations like that where it's not 100% applicable to the betterment of the situation in all aspects considered. But let's say, like I said, like uh, go kill someone or go jump off a cliff. Like
Why would people say it? I think people would say that.
there's no way that that can be
I
seen
don't even
as
get
like,
I can't even imagine a context that people would say that. Like go kill someone or go jump off a
oh, but you
cliff.
never know. That's what I'm saying. That's why if somebody says that, it's not an advice. You know what I'm saying? Somebody can say that. Nobody can prohibit somebody from saying anything. Somebody can say it, but does it fall under the category of advice? So that's what I'm saying. It's like,
No,
so
that's
if it's
just
an
nast. I think that would just be nonsense. That
yeah,
wouldn't be advice.
it would be
But then an
nonsense.
advice
Exactly.
would be something that like it's it I would assume that you're in a situation where you need to do something, and that something is really important because
Oh, there you go.
it will have an effect
So now we have a
on
clearer
your
definition of
life,
advice. So now we
right?
have a slightly
But
clearer
then
definition of
again,
advice.
either way, you just can't take these advice because it's different. Like you wouldn't know like which way it would go. You know what I'm saying? So if it's really
Yeah,
important, you have to weigh it and you have to analyze it because you know things could go in so many different ways. And it can be good, it can be bad. Like I mean, I'm talking about the results. So
that's true. I
that's why
agree. I agree.
it's something that, right? I mean, it wouldn't be that silly. I mean, I don't think, I
Jump off
mean,
a cliff.
like jump off a cliff or kill someone or rape
So
someone.
there you
It's
that's
just
my
like,
point exactly. Like statements like
can't
that
imagine
are not considered
like a
advice.
situation that would.
So they're not even bad advice. They're not even under the category of bad advice. It's just
No, they're just like
silly things.
nonsense.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah,
Got it.
these are
So
silly things that
that's what I was trying to
you
clarify.
shouldn't accommodate.
That's what I was trying to
All
clarify
right,
because
sending some shout outs to Jasper and Dexter. All right, they're joining us right
yeah,
now.
Mayang Gabi and good evening to Jasper who actually came up with this first like the best advice.
Right.
It could be a
Who's
quote. It could
RR?
come in the
Is
form of
that
anything.
you, Rod Rodriguez? RR?
I, I hope
Wow, he
so.
reminds me of RR Herrera. You
Or
remember that guy?
RR
How
who's
old
this
is
R
this boy? No, I mean
Dex
he's not a boy anymore. How
Dexter's
old
like
is
our
this guy
age.
now?
Dexter, oh no, not our age,
No,
my
no,
age.
RR Herrera. RR Herrera.
Oh, your age probably.
Really?
He might be your age. I know he's
Could be,
slightly
right?
older than Camille Prats. So how old is
Really?
Camille
RR
Prats?
Herrera?
Yeah, because I met them in person. I saw him and Camille together at Villa Margarita, and RR was significantly older than Camille. He was like
Oh man, he
Camille was
looks
probably like
funny now.
6 or something. RR
Right,
was
he
probably
looks
like
funny now.
yeah, he's probably like at least 5 years older
He
than
looks
Camille.
funky. Right. Oh my
Really?
god. All right.
But it was never he was never really like a leading man or whatever, right?
All right. Yeah, I know. He was just a child actor. Then, I mean, probably, I don't know, probably got some gig when he was older, but
I get
yeah.
him
He was
confused with
mainly a child actor.
I get him confused with L.A. Lopez sometimes, man. You know what I'm saying? Like L.A.
Really?
Lopez,
L.A.
R.
Lopez?
Herrera,
Let's
isn't that
see.
the same person? Like I get him confused, but no, L.A. Lopez is like this different. L.A. Lopez was that kid in the Champola commercial, so yeah, I kind of like he's like but I get him confused. They like kind of fall under that same kind
No,
of.
no. I think I would L.A. Lopez. All right, okay. Well, I would go for R. Herrera. Like I liked him
What are
better
we
when he
talking
was a
about?
child
What
actor.
are you talking about? Like you're gonna go on a date with one of them?
No, I mean like when like I'm talking about like child
Preference.
actors.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What about?
I would it's someone that I would like there are really over the top child actors, like you're watching the
Nino.
movie and you're like, I really want to punch this person in the face. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I got
Like
it.
just
Yeah.
he's acting, he's terrible, right? Like JPD. Okay, not JPD Guzman.
No, JP is
There's another one.
no, I know. The IC Mendoza. That kid
No,
doesn't
no,
have
no, no, no.
emotion.
Like
Dude, that kid did not
uh,
have emotions. You know why that kid got in showbiz? His mom is something Carvajal, who is the daughter of Inday Badiday. So Inday Badiday was his lola, so that's why they got IC Mendoza in showbiz, and he appeared in an Utol Kong Gudlob.
Atong Redilias. Where the heck is this guy?
That guy's like in
I like
was
this
that
guy.
that guy's like in FPJ movies, wasn't he? He was like in
Yeah, I
he was
think
always
so.
like yeah, he was like this like yeah, get kid who like always does trouble. Like he's kind of like a street
He
smart
didn't age
kid.
well, man.
He
He
always
didn't
plays
age
the role.
well.
Most have you seen Nino Mulak, dude? Most child actors don't age well, man. What are you
I
kidding me?
know.
That's
Holy
their
shit.
prime. See, that's the sad
Terrible.
part about child actors is that pretty much
Thank
99.9% of the time
thank
when you're a
goodness you
child
bring
actor,
child actors.
exactly, because 99.9% of the time when you're a child actor, like that's your prime. Like you can only go downhill from there. And wouldn't you
Right.
rather be like
Right.
I don't know. There are late bloomers. Let's
I
think about
know, I
late bloomers
know.
and show it.
I mean, Brad
Who
Pitt, he didn't look well when he was like in high school. Have you seen his high
nah.
school yearbook?
Nah, I'm sure you look goofy.
Right, he looked goofy. Then all of a sudden he became Brad Pitt.
Yeah, it became Brad Pitt. That's true. That's
The
true.
same Brad Pitt that was from that high school yearbook.
Yeah, like if you see if you saw or if you see Brad Pitt now and you saw Brad Pitt when he was a kid, you probably never think of Brad Pitt as like a potential child
Somebody
star,
who would
right?
be, yeah,
Because they weren't
or who
cute
would
when they
be,
were
would be
kids.
popular in the future.
Yeah, we'll be popular in the future. So, anyways, all right, let's get with that advice. We got that little
All right,
argument
okay,
out of
we
the
got
way.
Jasper. Okay, I have one code or advice that I love the most. The biggest risk is not taking any risk. By Mark Zuckerberg. You know
Yeah,
what? I've read this saying
you know what,
even before Mark Zuckerberg said that.
dude?
Plain and simple, and it means
Dude,
a
you know
lot.
what? You know that
You know
saying
what?
for me. That's
Jasper,
for
you should read more books.
that's for that saying for me, that quote for me, it's exactly what somebody who potentially will get scammed in a budul budul or like a pyramid scheme thing. I mean, I'm not saying, but it's usually something you would hear as an opening statement of somebody who's trying to get you under his network. You know, like I mean, look at that. Who did he quote? Mark Zuckerberg. Like, yeah, you're gonna be. I mean, I'm not saying don't take risk. I'm just saying it's risk
But risk
necessary.
can be, well, it's
It's
not about
rewarding.
just money, right?
I
It's
know, I
not just
know.
about money. So if somebody uses this context and is trying to get you into something, or is trying to sell you something, or trying to make you invest into something, then that's suspect right there.
I know
Because
exactly.
this saying doesn't just apply to investments or money. This applies to everything in life, right?
Yeah, yeah, but that's Mark Zuckerberg's quote, not the original one. So Mark Zuckerberg, man, come on, he turned his back on his best friend for money. So, I mean, that's what at least, but that's what social network made it appear to be. But anyways, the biggest risk is not taking any risk. All right, let's analyze this. Plain and simple, it means a lot. So that's from Jasper. Jasper didn't really say anything about like he loves the quote, but he didn't necessarily say that he applies it or that he 100% approves of it. I mean, he is a businessman, so risk is always a part of the game. I am not.
Well,
My
I
wife
know
kind of
who
is.
took the advice. Somebody took the advice. You know who?
The risk.
Yeah, I mean this advice from Mark Zuckerberg. This
The guy who
particular
won 400 million in the
no, the person who took the risk was Mimi. She took a big risk.
buwis buhay, buwis buhay.
Buwis buhay. She
Nabudol,
married a guy.
nabudol, nabudol sa inyo.
Nabudol-budol.
Na scam, na scam.
Na scam. It depends, but if you use
Per-
it while
It's called
weighing if you should quit your job and proceed to a new career. Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
it's called
It's not just about money, it's about
the
generally in
perfect
life,
scam. The
right?
perfect
Perfect
scam.
scam, right? I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, Mimi risked her entire life's future. That's what she
But
risked. I'm like,
but
all
when
right, I'm gonna say yes to this guy. That's taking
yeah,
a risk. Taking a
that
risk in a
dude,
relationship.
we take a risk by like driving our car every day. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if it's just risk that people are talking about,
Exactly.
we're taking risk every day. Like, just I mean,
Exactly.
just
Exactly.
to make it from point A to point B alive, that's already a risk. I mean, so many
Dude,
things beyond your
it's a
control.
risk in the Philippines because God knows how many people just paid for their driver's license and not really actually went through the actual
Yes,
test
God
and the
knows
actual, learning. They don't even know the
exactly.
road signs. So it's a risk in our country.
God
Here,
knows,
it's not so much because everybody has a driver's license and they actually went through
and it's not
like
just
the entire
that.
process.
It is not just that. God knows how many freaking 10-wheeler trucks are on diversion road right now whose brakes are about to fail because they were still
Exactly. Because
issued a
yeah,
renewal of registration without the brakes and the technical. Even if
exactly.
it's,
Because,
here's
the
the thing.
owners are too cheap or too
First off,
irresponsible to
first
actually
off, that
fix their
unit
trucks.
is surplus.
Holy crap.
99.9% that unit is surplus. That
Yeah.
means that unit is old as crap and no longer fit to be driven in roads in first world countries. Now, yeah, granted, maybe for us we wait till our brakes fail, whereas there they just have a certain number of miles or kilometers, and they're not going to use it again. They dispose of it, regardless of whether it still works or not, because that's how it works in the states. You don't go to the mechanic because your engine failed. You go there because it's 5,000 miles since you last had it done, so it has to be rechecked again. It's just a scheduling thing. It's a preventive maintenance. In the Philippines, it's reactive maintenance. Uy, daot na, paayo. So once something is broken, dude, you cannot. I don't know how people think about things, but you cannot you cannot repair that to brand new state. I mean, this is probably one of the few countries I know that have like brake pads rebonded. Like, how much is a freaking brake pad? But there's actually places here where you can go to and bring your old nipis as hell brake pad and have stuff added to it so you can use it again. The scary part is the ones that do that are the guys who are driving public utility vehicles, who's putting the lives of their passengers at risk every day by using rebonded brake pads. Whereas you can just
Right.
go and have that freaking thing replaced, which is not that much difference in price. But like I said, if there's always a cheaper way, even if it's a less safer way, a Filipino will always take advantage of that. That's why every day we are living in risk. And yeah, but no bigger risk than the one Mimi took. That's still the biggest risk of all. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
And she still has her fingers crossed to I'm sure for now. But
Up to
kidding
this
aside.
day, of course.
Jasper took a risk too. But Jasper was more on like the winning side, like the odds were on his favor. So that's thank you Jasper for the quote, even though like what I said, it's not really originally from Mark Zuckerberg. That quote has been around since time immemorial, but the biggest risk is not taking any risk. All right, it's like this statement. I'm gonna add to that with that same thing. It's practically the same thing, but it's more on the romantic side. So it's better to love to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all. And that in that aspect, in that department, I'm for it. Like, I'm not a risk taker when it comes to business or parting with my money or any of that stuff, but I am a risk taker when it comes to professing my feelings for a woman, when it comes to walking up to a girl and risking rejection. I can take rejection. I'm used to rejection. I don't go up to a girl and assume that she's gonna spread her legs right before me just because I said hi to her, or gave her a compliment. That's why I'm not buying all that pickup artist bullshit. Because yeah, you might get the girl's attention that night, but how long are you gonna sustain that attention? You know what I'm saying? Like, she's gonna get to know you, and you're gonna run out of flowery words to say, and he's gonna what, you gonna walk around with your freaking pickup artist book the whole time, saying things and
Well, that's why
implying
it's a
things.
pickup. It's not really a. It's not really an assurance of having like
Exactly.
a fruitful
So
relationship, but it's more
so
of
it's
like how to get the girl's attention, how to approach a girl, and how not how to be chicken. I think that's what it is. Because mostly it's like because like even me
that's the hardest part, right? That's the hardest
and
part.
Yoda, or
Just
yeah,
breaking
we
the ice,
talked
breaking
about it.
the
It's like
ice.
how can we approach? How can we just go in there and just not be creepy, right? So you
Yeah,
have
I
to
agree.
like these people have I mean not all, but some of the pointers there were actually very useful because I used that. Like not from those pickup artists there, but from the
Yeah,
book that I
yeah.
read. And
But
I tried it and it worked.
it's actually
I
not.
I didn't get anything, but I was able to like like be with
Apply
the
something,
people. Yeah, like for
break the ice.
example,
You're able to break the ice.
yeah,
You're able to break
I
the ice.
broke the ice. I was able to get to know them. I got their names. I got their numbers. I actually drove them home, and nothing happened. But I mean, I mean that could be a start.
So
That could be a start.
you're not giving credit to yourself at all in that department. You're not totally considering the fact that
No,
maybe
because
maybe
before
the
I
girl
read,
just thought you were cute. Like, maybe that
no,
was
no,
it
no,
already,
because
regardless
before
of how your approach
no,
was.
regardless of because like that probably happened so many times already. Like they probably think I'm cute, but because I didn't went up to them because like women when they look at you, they don't really, like they try to hide it as well. They would admire you, but they wouldn't like really give
Yeah, but
you,
hold on. But,
body
but
language,
how can
big huge body language signs that would make you come up to them. I don't think they're gonna give that.
how can a book convince you to do that though? I mean, like,
Well, it doesn't.
I mean,
Okay, here's the book. The book doesn't say that they're gonna like. Okay, the book was pretty honest too. Like at the end of the day, it's 50-50,
yeah,
right? It's
I
fifty
agree.
fifty. It's, I mean, it all depends on the situation. At the end of the day, seduction is, like it's 50-50. That's what it is. But the most important part there that you should learn from the lesson is that, well, you did something about it. You weren't just like sitting down waiting for something to happen. You were out there actually doing things, right? You get
Yeah.
rejected, fine. Because that's how it is. It's either you get rejected or you get entertained,
What was
right?
holding you back though? What was holding you back that book provided? Did you get provided for you that extra bump
How not
in
to be
your
creepy?
approach?
Like how not to be
But you're not.
creepy?
But are you creepy? Like,
No, I mean
you needed a book to
random.
tell.
Okay, no,
No,
I mean
because
here's the
no,
thing.
I'll just tell you why I brought that up, because
No,
I
like a
read some of
total
that book.
stranger. How can you do
Because
that? Like a total
uh,
stranger. How would you go? How would you go about it? If it's a
well,
total stranger, how would you
I
go
just walk
about it?
up and dude, I've done that many times. And you know what? Hey, I was invited to a Bible study. I mean, here's one. I was at Victoria Plaza. I'd never read any of these books. These books weren't even published yet. That this was Victoria Plaza in its heyday. Like, and this girl was like a model for Mantex. Like, there, if a girl is a model for Mantex, this is from the early
All
'90s,
right.
and
So how did
I
you do?
know you know.
So all right.
I
Okay. So
saw
how
her.
did you do it? You
I
saw
walked
her.
up to, I saw her, you know
All
what I
right.
said? You know what I said?
Right.
Hi, may ka-eyeball ka? Kasi may ka-eyeball ako, yung description is the same as yours. Now,
All right.
I said that because Victoria Plaza was known to be like an eyeball spot for either radio people or whatever. And this was the early
All
90s.
right.
I walked up, and she said, no, no. And when she said, no, wala. And she really thought that I was, and I just approached her as if, I had an eyeball because I was walking around by myself because at that time I wasn't enrolled and most of
Mhm.
my friends were in school. So I was like, I had that free time. So I walked up to her and I asked her that. That's it. And I don't know if you know what that term creepy, dude. You could say whatever crap. There is no 100% guaranteed line you can say to somebody that
Well,
will
yeah,
guarantee
that
that they're
that,
not
that
going to
would
get that
fall under
impression.
that would
Because I
fall
mean,
under the category of those lists. Like there's so many ways of doing
exactly,
that, and that's one way. And that the book's
exactly.
not for you. because the book's not
No,
for you clearly because you can do these things. But there are people who can't do these things.
dude, I didn't do anything special. I just walked up to somebody and made up. I mean, all I'm saying is,
All right, you
if
did that because you were thinking about it. You're
no,
probably
but
a
it could have
natural born.
backfired. But no, it could
Yeah,
have
well,
back.
of
I
course
mean,
it could have backfired. It could have
it
backfired.
only it
Of
only sounds
course,
good. It
even the
only
book
sounds
says
good.
that.
It only sounds good
It's
because I ended
it's
up
an
getting,
it's a yes or
getting to know
no.
her.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know
because it's a yes
exactly.
or no. It doesn't matter. Like,
Exact.
yeah, but here's
Yeah,
the
but I
thing:
mean,
you don't need to read a book because that's already your
no,
thing. There
I
are
didn't
people
even know.
that's
I know, but here's my thing though.
you're
Here's my
natural
thing.
born.
But here's my thing though. All right.
All
Here's
right,
my.
you're a
It's like
natural.
it's. I don't
You're a
think it's
natural
natural.
born
I.
descarte boy.
It's
That's what you
not.
are.
It. If I
What do you
only.
mean
You can
it's not?
only.
I mean, who
No, you
would
can.
do that?
No, 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 dude. Who would do? You only say that
I never did that.
because it
I never
worked.
did that. I never.
Exactly.
I know
But you did
natural.
it. But you did it because
Like
of the magical
I did
book,
because of
right?
the
But you did
yeah,
it.
not it's not a
But that was.
magical book.
But that was
It's like
you.
a
But that
self-help
was
book.
you. The book
It was
didn't
a
walk
self
up there. The book
No,
didn't
it's
bring. That
okay,
was you.
no.
You still did it. Not at the end of the
No,
day,
no,
you
no,
still
okay.
did it. The book
No,
was
no, no.
just
Okay,
like,
here's the thing.
you know,
No, you know what? I would really I would really give credit to books because right before like okay, I wasn't really good with people right before I read a book of Dale Carnegie. Like a lot of my skills right now, a lot of the people skills that I possess right now was from that book that I read from my father. It wasn't like a pickup book or whatever. It was just like a random self help book that my father reads, and I was like, all right, I'll pick it up. 6 Ways to Make People Like You. I was like, really? I was like, all right, fine. I read it. I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. I mean, this could probably be bullshit, but I'll do it. I started doing it, and it actually worked. Not
so
100%, but most of the time it works.
what were the
And
six
what
ways? Be nice, be nice, be nice, be
smile.
nice, be nice,
Yeah,
and be
no, no,
nice.
like no, smile. No, it was like smile, like remember their names, listen, don't, they do not
Okay.
hog the conversation. So this will automatically and you
How
ask
many
questions about them.
how
Like
many of these
these are
people who liked you actually told you that they liked you for those reasons? That you can
no, I
actually
mean no, they
100%
no,
say it was that book that made them
no,
like you. It was
no, I
because
didn't
of
even
those
care
things.
because it's more
What
of
if
like
it's
it's
coincidence? What if it's just
well, it
coincidence that
could
those
be.
things
It
you
could
applied
be
and they still like you, even if you didn't, they would have still liked you. So that's
but
what I'm
no,
saying.
because I'm aware of these things, it's easier for me to navigate my myself around. It doesn't matter where I am at. Like I'm in
Well,
Japan, I'm in
then you
Manila. Like
th-
I could use that because
then you have a better gift
people.
than me, right? Because if you say I'm a natural born whatever, dude, that my
But yeah,
problem
because
is I
that's the
cannot.
thing.
I know, but I can't adapt. Like I can't mold myself into something from if it's something that I read from. Like I'll take ideas from it, but I can't like say, okay, I'm going to change my life because this book said so. And you
Well,
can,
it
and
depends on your interest too.
I
At
think
that
that's a
point in my
better
life, I was like, I was really driven. Like I should
that's a
try this
bigger
one.
advantage. That's a bigger advantage
Right.
because you were
So
able
I
to apply it and it worked. Like
like even
heck,
with
you should
my with my speaking skills, it all because it all came about because of books.
reading.
And I was
I agree.
like
I
speaking.
agree.
I couldn't speak in front of people.
It's
Back then I
books.
couldn't speak in front of people. Then I read this book and it says the only learn how to speak is to speak. If you don't go out there and stand up in front of a lot of people and talk and talk and talk, you will not be able to do it. And I started doing it in
Okay.
class.
What was
So I
holding you
started to
back
practice.
though?
No,
Because
because I
I
didn't
was thinking I was thinking all the while
no,
that's
I
your
mean,
personality because I got to know
no,
you.
that's
You were
not my
already like that.
personality. Yeah,
Really?
because
Because
I
I already
read
know
these
you
books. I
as
was like, all
that.
right, I'm gonna
I
apply
don't.
this. I'm like, I will do this. Like that's what I'm saying. Like there are people who are natural born,
I
whatever,
got you. I
right?
got you. Yeah,
Like
yeah,
there are
yeah.
people who are natural born, like for example, they're really charismatic and they didn't need, like for example, you,
Like
Al
Billy
Ryan, he
Kane.
was a natural born.
I'm not
Billy Kane,
charismatic, man.
probably, right?
Yeah, Billy Kane
Like,
is. He
okay,
is. He has charisma. That
all
guy
right,
does.
okay. So Al Ryan did that too. Like so many times, we would be together and he would just like approach women or girls at that time because we were like young then, right? And he would just like come up with bullshit like, "Oh, you look so familiar. I think I see you from somewhere." And like
And they
sometimes the
fall,
girls would like, "No, no, like yeah,
or
sometimes
sometimes they
they'd
fall
run
for it. Yeah,
away.
sometimes
Yeah,
yeah.
sometimes they'd run away. Sometimes they'd
That's
talk to you. So I mean, he had that gift. Me, I was like, "Oh man,
okay.
that was embarrassing." So I needed a book to come up with like
I did
I
not know
need like
that.
I
I
need a
did not
plan.
know
I need a
that. I
blueprint.
did not know that. I mean, I
It's like it's
maybe
always like what will apply to this person? Like if I see like a bunch of girls, like what would apply to them that would not make it look like, that I don't want them to run away.
okay.
At
All
least,
right,
it's
gotcha.
still a 50-50, but at least it's not that
I gotcha.
embarrassing.
because
I would still be embarrassed.
I had a conversation with I remember being in the car with Gabby D because Gabby D was really into this pickup artist thing. He bought them to the
Right,
show. I mean, I don't know if we were still together then. Was it you and or me and Judge already, attorney?
right,
And he bought them. And Gabby D would always ride with me. I would always bring him home or would like drop him or
right.
we'll eat at McDo. And he was the new guy in the city. He didn't know anybody, and he wanted to hook up with girls and all that stuff. And he's young, so I totally get where he's coming from, wanting to sort of advance his progress into getting to know girls, whether it's through a pickup line or whatever. And he worked for him. He made a lot of female friends. Whenever we were at parties, he would always end up knowing girls, and he worked for him. But the only catch though is that I noticed that there wasn't really anything that was lasting amongst the
No,
engagements
nothing.
that he had.
It's just pickup. It's just like trying to get their
Exactly.
attention.
So
That's period. Like,
so that
so from
yeah
that point on, it has to be you. So
yes
like the book was
yes.
actually just to guide you how to get there. But once you get there, it's all you.
But you know what? It's scarier. I read some of the book tips there. Like, for example, like if you're like the girl, don't focus your attention on her, focus it on her friends and all that stuff. Like the art of whatever, deception, all that crap. You know what? When I was reading that, and I have applied that naturally, not thinking much about it. It's just common sense. It's like, yeah, girls' heads will get big. But I mean, some maybe through experience because maybe I was on my third, girl rejecting me. So I should apply something different. And I think that's why I learned because I learned the hard way. I learned through trial and error. But the thing I noticed is with me when I read that when I was reading part of that book, that's why I couldn't finish it. It's because it's like I would be more nervous about subconsciously applying something that I know didn't come naturally. Because I'm all about that. It's like us doing a radio show scripted. You know, you know me. I'm not about script, man. Just give me the lowdown of what's up, and I'll try to make the most of it. And I think I apply that as well in dealing with women of opposite sex. It's just nothing scripted because I think your swag is different. It doesn't seem because some of the stuff I read in that book, I'm like, dude, this comes off as obnoxious, and I am obnoxious, but I am not intentionally or planned obnoxious. I'm not trying to dress up like an asshole here. If I dress up like an asshole, it's because that's just how I dress, not because it was suggested to me. And I think that's the difference. Some people are good with instructions, like my dad. He's super smart, but he remembers everything, detail anything. Me, I shortcut. Like I'm not very good with instructions. So I think that's kind of like how that book works for some people who can apply the instructions and because I
Yeah,
feel
that's
like I'm
true.
more nervous. It would freak me out more if like subconsciously thinking about what's that book saying. Okay, I'll approach this table and try to apply that. I would actually be more nervous about it because if I didn't have that book, I would have just approached that table if I had that confidence, natural confidence to do that at that particular time. Because it's not like you can just tell me, dude, lapita mo yung table, and I'll go and do it. No, I'm not like that. I'm also not like that. Like I time it. Like I'm not gonna like walk up there to show off to my friends. I've never done that in my life. Like most of my friends will find out I got the girl's number and they didn't even see me approach the girl. That's kind of like how I do it. But that book kind of makes it up to be like an act. And I think for me that's the difficult part is I couldn't do that. You know, I couldn't do that because I was naturally
No, I think
talkative and you know what I'm
it's
saying?
not it's not something that you should like. Okay, you read that book, you just get some parts of it, like some of the things that you think would apply to whatever your situation is. So I'm not totally dissing the book, but it's more of like I think what the book was, like was for people who didn't have the guts and like the personality to, like it's sort of a guidebook, but it's not for us. I'm like, okay, I'm not totally like disregard because it has its, like it has its good points. And but then, like I said, once you get there, well, it's all you
The rest
because
is up to
I
you.
mean, the rest is up to you. The only thing
Yeah.
that book will be able to do or to be able to teach you was how to get in there, not not being so I don't know, like not being so creepy in a way,
Or
in
or
terms
or
of
fire
how the girls
blindly.
perceive you.
Or fire
Or
blindly
yeah,
because
exactly.
I think that what that book does is, and I understand the whole thing of it. I think what that book does is, it's a condensed kind of like it's not a manual or whatever, but it's basically just tried and tested method.
Yeah,
And
like ignoring
it's
things,
not
like
that they
ignoring
all work,
somebody that
but
could
most
work
of
for
it
some
work.
women, but it wouldn't work for some other women as well. Like you ignore them, like all right, you're ignoring me, all right, I'll ignore you back. That can happen.
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
But
We
then,
do that too. Guys do that
like,
too.
right? So I mean, it can backfire anytime. So, like I said, it has to be a case to case basis, and it's like always 50-50. But yeah, I mean, it's all you once you get there. Once you're already there, you're talking to the person, then it's all you. It's either they like you or they don't. All right. So, but yeah,
Yeah, I mean, like it shouldn't be. I get it. I get it. I mean, it's like I said, Gabby like had made a ton of friends, had a lot of female friends, and all that stuff. And when he did that PUA thing, and I read up on it, and most of the stuff that I was reading was like, shouldn't most guys know this already? But then, but then again, maybe some guys know it, but just didn't have that backing of a book that actually tells you that hey, this actually is tested, this actually
right.
can work.
Because for
90% of women think this way, so it gives
but
you
then
that
again,
confidence, right?
I would say, um, yeah, I tried it. Like for the most part, it actually was helpful, and it worked in a way that it got me, to
One foot
where
in.
I
You got one.
wanted to be.
You
All
get one
right,
foot in. Yeah.
but it's not really like, what I'm saying. I still prefer how we did it back in the day. Me and Yoda, how we did it back in the day was really. I think that was really effective. It was just it was a win-win for us. So I think how we roll back then, I wouldn't, I'm like comparing to what I learned from the book. Yeah, it's okay, but like that part was better.
Yeah. I
It
mean,
takes time and it requires patience, but it was so much better.
and
It
it
was
was
so
more
much better because
natural.
you would.
It was more
Yeah, it
natural,
was more.
right?
Yeah, it was more
I mean, not
natural. But then
natural,
you
but
have a
it was more
wingman, and
like your strengths, right? I mean, right? It was more of like your
yeah, but
strengths.
it was like, yeah, but I mean, it's not like you have to wait. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It can't be like that. It's like, okay, you see somebody, I'm like, all right, I like this person, right? I have a huge crush on this person, but then I would wait for somebody that would, that would be able to introduce me to that person. I would
Yeah.
wait for that opportunity. If some of my friends know this person, like how can I get there to
Bridge the
be
gap, right?
in,
To bridge the gap.
yeah, bridge the gap, how to be close to her in a, like what you said, in a natural situation where it wasn't forced, and right then and there you can just like boom, just shine naturally, not
Yeah.
forcing your way
And
in,
you have to
like,
understand, dude, this was happening during the early 90s, and we didn't have Facebook or social media. Most of the girls were pretty in school or whatnot. They were usually like, protected children. They were like, you couldn't go out. They were not, they wouldn't even be able to answer the phone for the most part. It wasn't like now where you have malls and Starbucks and stuff where you have plenty of opportunities to bump into people. Back then it wasn't. So I really kind of had to I think coming from the States, that helped me, not necessarily because I was dating left and right there. I wasn't, but it was just I never looked at women as like, my source of joy and suffering. Like I didn't. Like I saw them as like a source of a good time. I'm certainly not gonna marry her anyway. So I always had that mindset. Like I'm not proposing marriage here. Why am I freaking out? I walk up to her. The worst that she can say, as long as I don't creep her out, as long as I don't touch her, as long as I don't get sued for, molestation or whatever, I'm fine. I can walk up to somebody, ask a question, and see if there's interest there. Because you can ask one of my and you know her, and it was just such a weird thing that I did. It was at Jollibee. She was working summer Jollibee. She was a rich girl, so she didn't need that Jollibee work, but she was made to do summer work by her mom, and she was just the one in the back with the fries, and I was in there, and I ordered a sundae, and I think I ordered a burger, and I saw her in the back. So I asked the girl on the cash register. I asked her, can I ask her name? But I didn't do anything. I didn't make any move. And the girl said, okay, the girl's name, blah, blah, blah. Because I didn't see a name tag. I ate my meal, left, came back again. When I came back, she was manning the cash register. And she already had an idea that I was probably that dude who asked about her name. So immediately then, right then and there, I would know if the response is positive or negative just based on how she would react if I arrived. When I arrived, it seemed like she was already expecting, like, which is something there was anticipation. So I was like, okay, good. This is a good sign. She was told. I ordered fries. I left. I came back again, ordered again. And she was actually cracking up because I'm like, I'm gonna spend all my money on her or whatever. And I think for me, just that investment alone of buying fries and not necessarily doing anything extravagant or crazy or saying a lot of words or whatever, I think that had a bigger impact because all her coworkers saw me coming back in and out, and they all knew, and she was being teased the whole time, and I didn't do anything, didn't get her number, nothing. The next time I saw her, she was on her way out because this was at Jollibee Victoria Plaza. I came from Park and Shop, and she saw me, and I looked at her, and she waved a little bit, and then I ran out, and I saw her hop on the Jeep. She was actually on the Jeep, and when I looked, she was waving. That was the go signal for me to ask for a number. That was the go signal for me to walk up to this girl, and at least physically, I'm passable. And I think that experience alone, it was like she could have easily ignored me or not even paid attention to me at Jollibee, and it would have I wouldn't have felt defeated about it. It would have just been a filtering process. And I think just the fact that I was in the States, because here in the Philippines, we put so much, we overthink things when it comes to the opposite sex. It's like that's why a lot of Filipinos dinadaan sa porma, but we don't really know how to communicate, and you'd be surprised. That's why a lot of people get laid in Boracay, because when you go to Boracay, everybody's freaking just wearing their trunks or their board shorts, and nobody knows if you're rich or poor there. But if you're a good communicator, then you'll get laid. Women of all nations. I mean, honestly, I know waiters and bartenders there who have gotten lucky many times just because they know how to talk, and that's kind of like an even ground. You can't bring your Land Cruiser there. You can't bring the keys to your condominium unit there. You can't. What are you going to wear, your Rolex or your Patek Philippe in the beach? So really, I think that was that's why Boracay is kind of like the filtering grounds for people who've got it or don't in terms of communicating. That's why we should go to Boracay with Mao. Mao suggested. Mao's been suggesting that way back. He's like, dude, let's go to Boracay. I'm like, dude, I've never been to Boracay. You've never been to Boracay, right?
Never.
Still to this day. So not that we're gonna do that. Not that we're gonna do that. Just to see people in action. But either way, all right. Let's continue. Words of advice. What's one from you, Ice? I already mentioned one. It's better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all.
What, like advice?
And advice from Ice Pop,
Advice for like
maybe, or a
like
friend. One that you've
okay,
gotten, or
what
maybe one
like
that you shared.
okay, that's what okay, hang on. Like you gave that advice or you got that advice?
Either one. Either one.
No. I mean the one that you just said. Like better to have love and lost than not loved at all.
That no. I read that somewhere. That's nobody really
All right.
said that to me. I read that
All right.
somewhere,
So that's not
and I
an
agree
advice.
with it.
You
And I
read it.
agree with
You
it.
read it somewhere.
I
No,
agree
that's
with
not
it.
an
Yeah,
advice then.
I would
So,
advise that to somebody too. I would pass it
all
on.
right. Okay. Really?
Yes, I would pass it on because
Oh,
that
that's so hope. That's like a
be-
hopeless romantic type of
no,
like
it's not
advice. It's like,
hopeless. It's all about because for me, it's what gave me the strength to walk up to women, regardless of whether I'll be rejected or not, because I was not afraid
that
of
wasn't
losing.
love. You just that was just like a hard on. That wasn't like love. I would you telling me that was love at
Dude,
first sight?
but dude, are you telling me that when I walk up, when I see somebody walking, I would immediately say that, okay, that's the one? No, you have to take the first step, and the first step is always the hardest. But if you have something to inspire you to take that first step, then it could lead to love. It could lead to nothing. But like I said, you wouldn't know where it would lead if you didn't take the first step, and that's why I like that advice because of having like Pacquiao, man. Come on, like Pacquiao, he had nothing to lose, right? He had not. You think he was thinking, I might get knocked out. I'm not gonna attack this guy, dude. He freaking fought Barrera. Even his hair was punching Barrera. You know what I'm saying? He didn't. You think he cared if he got knocked out in front of the American audience? He didn't care. He was picking up
All
trash
right. So where's
in general.
the better
It's
to
better.
have
It's better
loved
to have
than
fought, and
and
it's
lost
better to
than
have. It's better to have fought and get knocked out than to have never fought at all. It's the same thing. It's the same freaking principle. It's
you
the
just
same
you
freaking mind.
changed the words.
It's the same thing. That's what I'm saying. But it's the same thing. Like it's the Pacquiao approach. He gave it his all. He reaped the rewards. And if he wasn't deserving of it, he would have gotten knocked out in the Barrera fight, and that would have been it. Pacquiao would have just been one of those guys that you know we only knew from blow by blow with Ronnie Nathaniels. But he took the risk. So you know, I mean, hey man, come on. I'm sure you have taken some risk as well, and that some have paid off, some haven't. But I'm not saying everybody should do that. But it's the fear of rejection, that's worse than rejection. If you never ask, the answer will always be no. That's another advice. I don't know where I read that or heard that from, but that's also one. Usually, that's given to those who are into sales. It's like Sharo sa 100 na offeran mo, walang kahit 10 na bibili. Right? It's kind of like that. It's like if you don't ask, the answer will always be no. It's the same thing. So what you? I mean, I'm sure you have some advices that maybe you agree with, even ones that you don't.
I don't know, man. I mean, advice. I don't know. I mean,
Ice Pop is full of
um,
wisdom. Come on, pull out something.
no, I mean, the best advice I gave somebody was like break up with someone, and he didn't take it. And I think that was, I think for me, I think that was the ultimate, like greatest advice I could have given
But
him.
you realized it later,
He,
right? That was the best advice. It was later
yeah,
when you realized it, right?
and he didn't listen. And up to this day, I would stand by it. Like he should have he should have broke up with that person. And I don't know. I mean, right? I mean that's the best advice because that was situational. So with
Yeah.
all the other things, like no, my father never really gave me advice. He knocked common sense into me. That's
Okay.
what he did for the most part. It wasn't really like he would give me advice. He would just like, hey, what's going on with you? Are you gonna get your girlfriend pregnant? I'm like, no. What are you
That's like
talking
my
about? Like,
mom.
don't do that. You get her pregnant, that's the end of your life. I'm like, all right, fine, I know. Like, so that's how it worked with me and my dad. It wasn't like, hey son, I'm gonna give you an advice. No, nothing like that. It was like, hey, don't be stupid. Okay, that's an advice. Don't be stupid. I think that's okay. I would have to say that one. Like, don't be stupid. Just whatever you do,
That's an
don't be
advice.
stupid.
That's an
Yeah.
advice. But you
Oh
you
yeah, I
read between
remember
the
the
lines, right?
wedding. The wedding,
The,
like I think
the
it
speech.
really makes a lot of sense. He said like, do things right, and you'll never be wrong. That's what he said.
Okay.
Do things right, and you'll never be wrong. See, that's a tricky advice. He didn't say that. Do the right thing. He
Yeah.
didn't say that.
Just do
Right.
things
What he
right.
said was, do things right, and you'll never be wrong. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's pretty tricky,
Yeah.
right? He didn't say
It's
do
like
the right thing. Do things right, and you'll never be wrong.
you have to know how to
And I was like,
decipher
wow,
how that statement
exactly.
was put together,
Yeah, that can
right?
be sinister. Yeah, that could be a sinister advice,
It's like
right?
it's like it's like
Do
this.
things
Applicable
right,
like
and you'll
this.
never be wrong.
Kung mag-chicks-chicks gani ka, ayaw pa dako.
Exactly,
Right? It's the
exactly,
same thing,
right?
right? It's basically that's what
It's
it
like if
was,
you're gonna
right?
have an affair,
Yeah.
keep it on the safe side. If you do things right, you'll never be wrong.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh my god, my dad, full of surprises. Like people would have like first time they heard it, they're probably like, oh, all right, he's telling him to do the right
The right
thing,
thing.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would. But then if you actually listen to it, like, do things right and you'll never be wrong. He never said that. Do the right thing. He said do
Yeah.
things right and you'll never be wrong.
Whatever it is that you do,
That is so sinister.
make sure that you're doing
Crazy,
it,
right?
the best to your the best to your ability or
If you're gonna
whatever.
cut class, do it right. And you'll never be wrong. Get the
You know,
right doctor's permit, doctor's note. Get an excuse letter. All right, and act
make
sickly.
make
Be sure
sure
to
it's
cough.
not your weakest class.
Right, and
you
you'll
know,
never be wrong.
and, and I think here's the thing. Now that's see okay. So that's an advice that's it could sound like it could be like a okay, like for example we've hosted weddings, right? We always hear the ninong speech, we always hear the ninang speech. They always give you like this, the five whatever, put God first, all that stuff. And there are also some ninongs who are like, you know, who will always be naughty, right? And will always say that, hey, maybe siguro doing na kay extra phone or whatever stuff like that, right? Now it sounds like bad advice, but trust me, there might be a day that advice will come in very handy and save a marriage, you know? Because let's just put it this way. Let's say that guy was going to have an affair either way, right? He was going to have an affair either way during the course of his marriage. If he didn't take that advice from him, he would have gotten caught and that marriage would have ended. And that's it. And he still wouldn't have ended with that woman he had an affair with. So it'd be everyone would be miserable. But if he took that Ninong's advice, then he wouldn't have gotten caught. He would have had his fill, and he would have outgrown that affair, and he would have, stayed committed and be in a happy marriage. And a wifey didn't need to know what she didn't need to know. Now, right? So To most of the people in the audience would probably say, or the guest would probably say, that Ninong's giving bad advice. Recommend pa niya na, bibili ng extra phone. He's not recommending shit. He's basically just telling people that nobody's perfect. But in case you're gonna be in a situation where you're gonna be imperfect, just make sure that it causes the smallest ripple possible, so that as much as possible, you're the only one who feel your guilt is the only thing that you have to deal with, and not trampling on other people's emotions. And I think that's what one of those Ninong said. And I think it's still advice. It's a realistic advice. You know, it's a realistic advice. Even the advice, like some Ninongs will say, pag mag-away ganin mo, ayaw yung uli sa yung mama, mapa, ayaw yung nigdawati ha, pag mag-away ning duwa, ayaw, let them sort out their problems. And I think that's good advice. I mean, I think they should sort out their problems. Because I mean, if that's what some marriages, that's what happened to my wife and I. Our first month, I think, couple months, dude, she went home. She left me.
Really?
I think it was, yes, she did. She went home, but you know what? She didn't say she came home that same night. Her dad brought her back because they're like, no, uwi ka sa asawa mo. Like, freaking nagpaalam ka pa sa amin at lahat. Minyo pa niya. First sign of trouble, you're back. She did. She left that. She's like, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what it is that I did. I did something. I wasn't considering. I was like, my reasoning was that it was my first time to get married. I didn't know what to do. It's not like I'm in the States.
I don't know.
It's not my third
I
time
don't know,
to
man.
get married.
Like I would stick with my advice to people, like not get married, and if they got
Yeah,
married, not have
that's
kids.
that's
I would
good
always
advice
stick with
too.
that.
That's,
Like
see,
it's not because I'm negative, or I'm like I'm a cynic, but it's more of I'm a realist. All right. I
yes,
mean,
that's the word.
it's a lot of work. I mean, it's already a lot of work. I mean, the stresses that comes along with it. There's just like so much,
So
right?
much, so much.
And you're lucky if you have a good support system. If you have a good support group, if you have a good family, if you have good friends, then I
Considering
mean,
everything
yeah,
else in your life works out
exactly,
fine,
yeah,
like, what if you're having marriage problems plus you have career problems? I mean, if you have career problems but you
yeah,
don't have to deal with marriage, at least you can get home and you're okay. You're like, no
right,
one you have to, like,
right,
right.
right. But if you're
But
having career problems and at the same time marriage problems, that would be terrible, right?
yes, because career
So
problems,
it's yeah. So
right,
I
you lose your.
always I would stick by it, and I would like tell people, like I keep on telling people the same thing. Like
Has anybody taken you up on that advice, and
no,
thank
because
you, like,
no,
thank
they're
you years
stubborn.
later?
The more you tell them something about like not get married, they want to prove you wrong. And of course they can't prove me wrong because I know how it works. I'm a married person. I know where all marriage leads to. Like, who are you kidding? Like, how are you different from me? Are you a robot? It doesn't matter how much
Are,
money you
are
got,
you?
man. It
Did you
doesn't matter
program
how
your
much money
wife?
you got.
Did you
You-
program your
I
wife to
know
be a certain
exactly.
way?
Right. Like now, what, you don't have
Oh,
emotions now?
there's this thing. You know what? We should actually have that. It's kind of hard to make a topic though, but there's this thing on YouTube Shorts that I saw. And it was this girl who's like, and I dealt with this because I had an ex girlfriend who actually gave me that same statement. And there was this black dude with his girlfriend, and he's like, and she's like, making all these demands and blah blah blah, and she's like guaranteeing the guy that, you know I'm gonna do all the things, these things that you long for and all the things that you want once I become your wife, because that's gonna change. Once I become your wife, I'm gonna be like this. I'll take care. I'll do blah 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 blah. So the guy was like, okay, so you mean to tell me that you're gonna be doing all these things to help me, support me, and blah 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 once you become my wife, because then that's, that's the right time to do it for you, and that's the time to. And the guy goes, but you know what, am I a good boyfriend? And the girl's like, yeah, you're a good boyfriend. Am I doing the things that make you happy? Yeah, you're doing the things that make you happy. Okay. Well, the guy goes, well, when we get married, I'm still going to be doing the same things. And you know why I'm going to be doing the same things? Because that's who I am. It's not a title. It's not a title. Like, let's become my husband. All of a sudden, I'm gonna be like a better provider. Once all of a sudden, I'm gonna be like a better. No, that's right. it's like, and I think I'm not saying, I'm not, just dissing women here, but like I said, I've had a woman say that to me. She's like, because I ask her things. I'm like, hey, how come you don't accompany me when I do this? How come you don't, whatever, when you do this? You're not as affectionate in certain situations when you do this. And she's like, because I'm not your wife yet. And once I become your wife, I'm gonna like I support your friends. I'm gonna join you when you go like this, like this. I'm gonna do blah 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, I was given that statement. I was actually given that statement that because I'm not your wife yet. It's like I actually almost fell for it. Like, okay, so she has a switch that she can turn on. That once she becomes my wife, all of a sudden she's like this person that she promises to be. I mean, after years of being together, I still don't see that switch being on. At least a hint of a switch being on. Like you can't even show up for the birthday of the most important person in my life. Right? Like why? Like do you need to be a wife to be able to do that? So you mean to tell me you have to be a wife to do good things? Like I don't get it. And that's exactly what that YouTube short was. It was like a wake up call. It's like don't fall for that
But then
shit.
again, I think some people actually do need to get married because they probably have.
They
I
become
mean, you know
better
what I'm
people.
saying?
They become better people.
No, they not no, because they would just be so lonely. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
Like
okay,
you, me,
all right. I
like
got you.
you,
I got.
me, we would be okay. We'd be happy.
I
We'd
got
be
you.
happy.
I
You
know
know,
what you're
like me, I'm
saying.
like, yeah,
I know.
I'd be happy.
It will
Like
define their life if they get
yeah,
married.
even
It
people
will,
would tell you like, well, you're not gonna party. Like, no, I don't need to party to be happy. What are you talking? No, it's not about even the party. It's not even about the girls. It's not about that. Like, what makes you think I cannot party? If I want to party tonight, I can
exactly.
if I want to.
Exactly.
I just don't
Exactly.
want to,
Exactly.
right?
You just don't want
Like
to. That's
a
right.
wife and a kid will not stop me from partying if I really want to.
That's
So
true.
that's not even
That's
my point. So
that's
what I'm
true.
saying is like it's there's more to it than meets the eye when I say like don't get married because there's like a lot of things attached to it.
So, but you
But
just
they don't.
realized now that there are people that you should actually tell to get married because they would be miserable. They'll have nothing.
You
There's
know,
no
like,
meaning to
yeah,
their life
now I'm like,
because they're not self
if they're
sufficient.
alone, they'd probably kill themselves. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, all right, I'm just
Because
gonna
nobody
kill
will talk
myself
to
now.
them. Nobody
You know,
will
right?
care about them. You
Yeah, that
know,
would be it. Like
they get old.
once they have this person, I'm like, oh my god, I should lock this down. Because if he or she breaks up with me, that would be it. I don't think I can
I
find
think
somebody else,
you get old, you get
right?
ugly. Nobody likes you
Maybe
anymore.
that's
I
why.
mean,
Maybe that's why. And maybe they think of me as somebody who's just like trying to, like con them into like not getting into like a really wonderful thing. But yeah, well, yeah, okay. Now I
yeah,
realize the flaw of this advice
not
in
get
terms
married.
of like like yeah, I mean to
There could be
certain
people out
people.
there who, at the first sign of an opportunity to get married and fool someone into
They
marriage,
will.
do
They
it, dupe
will.
them. Like
I
they should,
know.
because otherwise you're not.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I
That's
mean, like you
true.
said, like what you said, like
I should be
guys like
careful. I
us.
should be careful who to say these things to. You know.
Yeah,
I mean,
I almost
I'm
got duped,
saying this
man.
to everybody.
I
I
almost got
almost.
duped.
I'm really you
Yeah,
got
guys.
duped.
So almost. So I'm telling you, guys out there, if you have a girlfriend who's like promising you like certain things, like hey, you know what, I'll be supportive. You know what, I'll drink with you and whatever. You know what, blah 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 blah. Or, it's just that I'm not your wife, so I can't like show that side or support you or do all these things or whatever and go places with you and blah 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 blah. So it's like a title that they need to sort of make them your dream girl, and it's like all I'm asking is for you to accompany me to a party. You know what I'm saying? Like, do I really need to marry you for you to? I mean, but some women are crafty and they'll fall for that trap.
I
And then you
can't
get
go to the party
married.
because I'm not your wife. What?
I know
Like what?
exactly, dude. Dude, I've had lines like that, man. It's like,
Really?
hindi pa kasi,
I can't go with you because I'm not your wife.
yes,
Go to
and
where? Like to that party? Like
yes.
this is not an exclusive party for married people.
Now
This is like a
it
party,
could
like a normal party.
it could be like because the parents won't allow them to stay up late, or it could be that blah blah blah. It could be that, yeah, I don't know, but it's like she will only do things, certain
What did you
things.
say? Like, geez, you have issues. I'm like whatever. Don't come
No,
to the
I've done
party.
that. The line of I would always
I'll
drop.
ask somebody else.
You have so many hangups. I've always said like you have so many hangups. Why do you have so many hangups? I'm like, you haven't tried 90% of the things that I have suggested to you. Places to go and whatnot, and yet you already like even my friends, like my two best friends in college, dude. Like he didn't attend any of the weddings, and the wedding of Milky was in Huna. She lived in Ecolan for crying out loud. You could have just like it's a stone's throw away. I mean, uh,
She
my
wouldn't go with you because what?
my
Like
my friends who didn't have girlfriends had dates for crying out loud. You know what I'm saying? I'm like. And
I
I
know.
was in a long
Like,
term.
yeah, I'm
I'm
bringing
like,
you as a date, like not as a girlfriend, but just
what
as a
is
date.
this shit? You
Just come
know,
with me. Like
it's
it
like
can be as friends or whatever. Just like come,
I'm
like
like,
free food, and you have an excuse to use your nice dress
no,
and
no,
your like I don't know your
exactly.
expensive cologne.
I'm big on that stuff because if it's a wedding and you have a relationship with somebody, if it's a wedding, whatever, you kind of want to be
If
part of
somebody
those
asks
pictures,
me to a
especially if you
wedding,
guys end up
I'd
together,
gladly go, even if
right?
that person like okay, let's say I'm single and there's this somebody who's like attracted to me, and if she asked me to go to a wedding,
You'd go, right?
and yeah, I'd go if she would clearly like, all right, just come with me. I'm like, all right, then I would feel that there's nothing, attached to it, like no strings attached. Like, yeah, who would turn down a free meal? An
An
excuse to
opportunity to get
wear
dressed up,
nice,
right?
like
Yeah,
yeah, to
which is
get
very
dressed up,
rare in the
to use your
Philippines,
expensive
right?
colognes,
Yeah.
and
Be
just be your best.
be in pictures
Yeah,
when you're at your best with your barcada, right?
right.
That's the
She
best
might
part
be
about
able
the
to meet
wedding.
somebody there too, like not exactly you. She might be able to,
Yes,
she might be able
that's
to meet
right.
her future
It's an
husband there.
opportunity. That's right.
She's
That's right.
stupid. Dum dum.
Yeah,
That's
that's
what I
what I'm
call her.
saying.
Dum
That's
dum.
what I'm saying. It's like what's your point? Like, I mean, you can go to the mall with me, but you can't attend the wedding with my friend. It's like she's trying to rub it in. Like, okay, the important occasions. Oh, I'm not your wife yet, so I'm not gonna attend
You
those.
see that?
I'm
Yeah.
like,
You know what?
okay,
This is what you should have
you know.
done. All right, don't worry. I'll marry you. All right,
No,
sure. Why
I could have
not?
brought someone else. I could have brought someone. I should have brought someone.
No, no, no. This is what I would have done. Like, what is that? Your like, I'm gonna marry you. Come on. Like, yeah. Well, where do you think is it? Where do you think this is going? I'm
No,
gonna
I
marry
married the
you.
right woman. That's what I did.
Right?
You
No, no.
know,
I mean, I'd
it,
say that. I mean, I'm not gonna
it,
marry her. I'm just gonna say it. Right after the party, I'd be like, yeah, I changed my mind. Like, why? I can't change my mind now. Like, what are you nuts? Like,
okay, I gotta ask you this question though. Okay, so when it comes to marriage, I gotta ask you this question. I have no definite opinion about it because marriage is, such an unpredictable situation that nobody can just guarantee anything. So the question being is, i- if if you're right for it, like let's say you can look ahead into the future and you see that you're right for each other in many ways, regardless of the commitment or not. Like you're just right for each other as
right.
as friends, as lovers, as whatnot. You just right for you. It's a healthy relationship. You boost each other. You help each other out. You grow together, and you grow apart. You're fine. Even when you're not together, you still grow, and you can still get. Would marriage still be a bad thing then? Like, because here's the thing: the reason why marriage
It will.
kind of
It,
becomes
it
an
will be. What are you talking? Of
because
course, it will be.
no, because I mean, it kind of becomes a necessity.
No, it's
Well, let's
always a
say
good
you.
and it's always good and bad. It's not just bad. It's good and bad. Like
Okay, so
people
in that
always
case,
like
so in that case, would you
they
still advise
always
somebody?
misunderstand that statement. They
What if
always
I
do that. Like
What if I was your friend? I was like, hey, bro, you're my best friend. I'm like, hey, bro, she's it, man. She makes me happy. But we're getting older.
shut
She's,
it,
she has to
shut
start
it. You don't
to,
know what you're talking about. Like you know what? You
dude.
don't know what
If
you're
if
talking
if, if
about.
I if I don't put a ring on that finger, she's gonna find someone else, and I'm just gonna regret the rest of my
Oh
life. Like
really?
I'm
You
not gonna.
think that? You think that?
That's how you're gonna talk me. You're gonna talk me out of it. Like even if you
I
knew
will
that
talk you
that
out of
girl
it.
was right for your friend. I mean, would you talk me out
All
of
right.
Bagik? Would you talk me out of Bagik? All right, let's just say you know Bagik and you know me,
No.
and then let's say
Okay.
I
Here's
brought
the
that up with
thing.
you. Dude, I'm
Here's
gonna
the thing.
propose.
Here's the
You're
thing.
gonna say you can
Here's
actually
the
say and then like I'm gonna see
no.
her
Here's the thing. Here's the
married
thing.
to some other guy,
Here's the thing.
and me stuck with like some horrible
How
woman.
sure? How sure are you? How sure are you that I am not saying the same thing to Bagig? Are you sure you want to marry that guy? Are you freaking kidding me?
No, I would not be surprised. Everybody was saying that to her. Everybody, her brothers were saying that to her. Her
I'm like,
friends were saying
are
that
you
to her.
kidding me, Bags? Are you
Dude,
out of
no.
your
See that?
mind? No,
That's
no. Here's the
why
thing. No,
it had
here's
to
the
be done on
thing.
my end. It had to be done on my end because everybody was
Here's
telling
the
her
thing.
against me, and
No,
everyone was
here's the
telling
thing.
me,
No, I wouldn't talk you out of it, and it's because it's Bags. I both know you. You know what I'm saying?
no, no,
I
but you didn't
know
know me
her,
that
and she's
well
a
yet,
friend.
though. We don't know each
No,
other
I
that
mean, no, I
well,
didn't
though.
know you that well, but I know you were a good. I know you were a good
I
person.
mean,
I know you were not an asshole. That's a fact, right? We weren't
well,
close. We
thanks.
weren't
I
as
appreciate
close as we
that.
are now. But I already know at that point that you were not an asshole. I mean, when you see an asshole, you know them right off the bat that they're
That's true.
assholes. Like you
That's
would know they're
true.
assholes, right?
That's true.
So even if we were not that close,
Hey, but
and we
many
didn't
people
really know
thought
each
you were
other.
one.
See, that's the thing.
That's the
Yeah, and
feedback I got. That's the feedback I got. And
that's
you're
true.
not.
That's
Yeah.
true. And for reasons that that I have, I wouldn't really blame them. I mean, I
You
would
probably
blame
did
those
it on
people who didn't give
purpose.
me a chance. Like people who would tell them, like, okay, this person is blah blah. All right, okay. Um, I've always like looked at it at
Can you
like
name
at
one?
a different
Okay,
perspective.
that's you know what? Okay, hold on. Name. Okay, before we get back to ice, ice. Okay, what? Okay, when you say one asshole, like what? Like a person we know, a person like we can give clues here and shit. Okay, because I'm trying to think if I know somebody who is that bad. Because usually I would just avoid that person and not even remember him or her. So I'm trying to. Yeah, I know a couple. Yeah, I know. I know.
All right, like
Most.
right off the bat, you can sense it in them. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I do. I do. I'm sure Jasper has friends too who are they're assholes, but they're still
Right.
your friends. You know, you just accept them for that part of them. It can happen. You know, they're just not the first person
Well,
you would probably think of.
here's just
Right?
the thing. No, I mean it's not from what I heard. It's more of like because they heard me on the radio and they kind of like passed a judgment on me because of what they heard on the radio, and not because they met me. Right?
No,
I've
usually it's an opinion from another person.
exactly. I
Like
have
sabi ni
not like for
ganyan
example
ganyan.
like it's really crazy because me I would listen to people on like on the radio and I would
Yo
never really
asshole.
like
That's asshole. Asshole.
no
Asshole.
like I wouldn't say like oh that's an asshole like I never did like even with okay let's say for example because he's a common friend now like for example Mr. Bass I've heard a lot about Mr. Bass right
Yeah.
like not so good things about Mr. Bass from other
Before you
people
guys
and I was
met.
like all right yeah but then I didn't really hate him because I was like I have no opinion of him but I know of him from like Ultimate Radio
I mean,
and
hearing him on the radio, did you think he was gonna be like, oh, this guy's gonna be like cocky
no,
and
my
shit?
only opinion of him was like, "Oh my god, he's got a really big
He
voice." I'm
does. He
like,
does. He does. And
and my father admire his voice. Like,
he doesn't
I
really
think
give
that's
away anything, right? He doesn't give away anything
no, no.
to his personality when he does
He
the show.
has
He
a
just does like the basic.
really
Unlike
good
us,
podcast voice.
unlike us, where you can
Like,
kind of tell,
yeah,
like, right? He doesn't
right.
show his
So
personality.
Mr. Bass is actually like Mr. Bass. He's got that
Based,
bass
yeah,
voice sound, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
my father kind of like digs his voice and but I've heard like stories about this guy and whatever, but I'm like, all right, I don't know the guy. And I don't
yeah,
really care. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, he's not a part of my life, so I'm not gonna pass judgment on this guy. Not until I meet him and he actually acts like an asshole, right?
Yeah, two
Then
of
I
them are
met
talking
him.
right now. Jasper. Yeah, two of them are talking.
Can you name one?
Hey, hey,
Yeah,
but we're
two
real.
of them are
But
talking.
Jasper, you can't deny this. We're the two most lovable assholes on the planet, right? We're
Exactly.
right. We have redeeming qualities. Like
That's
we
true.
can
That's
switch
true.
that asshole side on and off. I mean,
And
you,
here's the thing. This is what I love about Mr. Bass too. Like I met him, and you know we started talking at the training because we you know we went to the same training, in Manila, and we started talking right. So I'm like, oh yeah, Mr. Bass. I'm like, oh you're Chris Rock, blah blah. So
you thought you were an
I think he
asshole
waited.
too. You
No,
thought you
no,
were an asshole too.
no. He waited for about weeks, I guess. I think it was about a month or so when he started talking to me like, dude, man, how did people like, you know, I mean, from the things that I've heard, like it's not really that. That's what he said to me. Like, I've heard so many things about you, and I really thought that you're that. So it's like well, and he's I think he said he was wrong. It was like, but yeah, I really thought that you were this guy, and I was like no, and like oh you're chill. I'm like yeah, of course I am. Just like you know, it's a persona maybe. I don't know. Like I don't know how I sound on the
See,
radio, but I'm
he's
not.
a
That's not the
common
real
ground.
me.
He's a
So
common
that's the
ground.
thing. So even after like we left Manila, like I would bump into him at you know at Victoria Plaza, and we would talk, man. So it's
And
like,
you guys
see,
have a
that's the
better
thing.
bond now. You have a
I
better
know, and
bond
he
now because
thought that I was an asshole, but yeah, I
all
mean, we're
right.
okay, we're cool, we're
All it
chill.
takes is like one conversation with a person, and it can totally change your perception of the person if
Exactly.
you
You
had
know what I'm
preconceived
saying?
notions about who they are.
Yes.
And it just that one conversation you get like what you said, you can already tell. And I think I know why I'm not an asshole because he hired me because he was the one who interviewed me at UR. I walked in knowing nothing about radio. I wasn't even dressed apart. A couple of guys were there rehearsing shit with me, and I think you probably know those guys. But I got hired above them. I'm like, I was actually like, oh, I'm not gonna get hired. These guys are like freaking. They came with, come with scripts and stuff, and we were sitting on the sofa and they were like reading it, and they all looked great and shit. We're wearing ties and crap. And I
Yeah.
walked in like wearing shorts, I think, or whatever. and he hired me, and I'm like, and I don't think it was
I
because
think
I
because
was
he liked
good, or
you.
I think,
Yeah,
yeah,
because
I
he
think it was
liked you.
just like
Because
he
okay,
sensed that I was,
I have I have applied to several radio stations, and there were I've got rejected right many times, and I didn't
you
really
were
take it
dressed like her.
against. Yeah, like I didn't take it. I didn't take it against those people. It all comes into it all boils down to if they like me or not.
Yes,
So it could
yes, I
be like they
agree.
didn't like me,
It could,
and
yeah,
you can't
I agree.
force that. You can't force like like people to like you. If they didn't
True.
like me, then they didn't like me.
It could be
It
that may
could
kamukha ka lang na ayaw nila, right?
exactly. So it's
Right?
like,
If
all right, okay, I didn't get the job, whatever. I'll
yeah,
I'll try somewhere else. And finally, I got in, and it was fine. Maybe finally somebody did like me. So it's like, all
yeah.
right, cool. So
Same
it's
thing.
always like
Same
that.
thing
Like,
with girls, man. Same thing with girls.
right.
It's like you think something's wrong with you. No, hindi yung mga girls na nilapitan mo, di lang ikaw yung type nila. But ma-jackpot mo na ikaw yung type, shit, you don't have to do
Nauna,
nothing.
naunahan ta, Brad. Like, can you name one asshole? Yeah, somebody typing right now. Somebody who sent this message.
You were
Can you
gonna
say
put,
that right
you were gonna,
away? You
oh
answered
well.
his whole
I
question. Yeah,
mean,
two of them are talking right now.
yeah, okay, so that's an advice. Well, let's connect that conversation to our topic. That's an advice. Never judge a book by its cover. Never judge it. Don't believe it until you hear it from the horse's mouth. And I think that line, don't believe it until you hear it from the horse's mouth. It's basically
But
that
okay, but here's
saying.
the thing too. Here's the thing too. Like you have that saying, don't judge a book by its cover, right? But then you have the saying as well, um, birds with the same feathers flock together, right?
And a leopard never changes its spots, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
Right, right.
So here's the
Yeah.
thing. If like an asshole would be a really good friend with another asshole, because they're all assholes, right? Like you and me and
As
Jasper,
you,
we're like
we're
assholes.
ass-
We're friends,
we're three
right?
assholes. We're the only
It's
three
the same
assholes
with
on the
those
show.
other type of assholes who are like
See,
also
Dexter left.
friends right now, right?
Dexter left because he's like, oh, I'm not an asshole. I don't belong here.
I'm not an asshole. I'm gonna leave. I think it's just I think that's the thing. Birds with the same
I
feathers,
agree too.
like
I
they would
agree.
flock together, you know?
But if it's just someone you
Um
know but not really friends with, okay. But do you have high tolerance for asshole people? I have high tolerance for asshole people in the sense where I can actually
I okay,
do
when I'm
you?
in the situation, when I'm in this when I'm in there at that particular
What
moment, yes, of course I do. But then I would avoid
what
that
if you
person
work with
like
an
a
asshole?
plague.
You've worked with assholes, both male and female, in your career. I know, and
Well,
you've
well, I
dealt
do
with
because
it.
it's work. It's like
Shit,
I
I
can
can't. Nah, I don't know.
like
I, I
I
can't
can
work with an
always like
asshole for very long.
I
That's
have
the
that.
worst.
I have the patience for that. I
That's
mean,
the
if it's
worst
work,
part for me.
then I have the patience.
It's the
But
opposite for
then
me.
if I get to that point where, like for example, if I'm thinking like, okay, I leave and I don't care what happens, then that's when I go off. I would just like go off with that person, like whatever, like burn bridges, whatever, right?
Mhm. Because
So
it's the
yeah,
opposite for me because I need I need peace of mind when I'm at work. It's hard to be productive when you are stressed out with the people around, with the toxic people. That's why if it's just partying and shit, I can hang out with assholes. I can drink with assholes, no problem. Because
but
I mean, this is the only time I'll see you at the bar. And
no, no, you know what? You know what?
but at work,
I'm
F
wrong.
it.
I'm
'Cause
wrong. I'm wrong. I think
that's
I
why
lost my patience. I
that's
lost
why
my
Killer
patience.
Bee was the place that I lasted the longest because
I
that was
know.
the
I
place that
know.
had the least asshole. I'm not saying there were assholes in the other workplaces I work with, but it's just maybe they just were not, we were all exerting effort to extend a hand while we were working together. And I think you can feel it. We don't have to be all the same. We don't all have to
Oh my
think the
god, it's
same,
10:33. All
but
right.
we all extended a hand to each other. We
All right.
all extend, like,
Okay.
even if Joe doesn't talk much, I extended a hand and I was
You're
talking.
correct. You're
Even
correct.
if you had a
You're
bad reputation, despite that you were not that, people still hang out with you. Even though Billy Kane looked like a doctor and didn't belong at a radio station, you still, you know what I'm saying? Like, we would still listen to him. And even though Nixon was everything that a professional wasn't, he still was with us, and we all still cared about him. And I think it's that little gesture of extending a hand that makes a person
That's
who is
true.
borderline
That's true.
asshole acceptable. But there are people that even if you extend a hand and they still kind of you make you want to regret it, that's a certified asshole for me. That's the certified asshole. Like, you know, you at least, yeah, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Speaking of an asshole, there's an asshole who just messaged me. But sinatay pa birthday diha. You know how old this guy is, and he's still asking for presents.
Hold on. Is today your birthday?
No, it's my brother's birthday
Oh, you're April,
tomorrow.
right?
Tomorrow.
You were April, right? Weren't you
Yeah.
April?
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. DJ Miko is July 15th. It's his birthday. Like,
Oh,
in
real?
yeah,
Happy birthday to DJ
yeah,
Miko.
yeah. And he's like, "Oh, my birthday, but huh? Like what, dude? You have a family now. What do you
No, 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 no,
like?"
no, no. Tell him he's in the Philippines, and that in the Philippines, it's you who treat your friends.
Yeah, well, he has
But
his own little world, man. But
bigyan mo
okay,
naman ng
but going
pa-birthday.
back
Come on
to
naman, kuya. Ikaw naman, kuya. Kuripot mo naman, kuya. Bilang mo naman ng Jordan. Bilang mo, come on, man. This is like we can add to cart. Let's treat him to one pair of shoes. Come on.
500. That's just for
Come
you.
on,
500. Go
man.
go treat yourself to
Dude,
Jollibee
are you
to
gonna be
like the
that
big champ or
are you gonna
whatever.
be
Like I
are
don't
you gonna
know,
be that sibling who like lives in a mansion and you're like your brother's like the security guard or
dude. I don't
something? I
live in a
mean,
mansion. You know what? He
but
he has a beautiful life. My
he
mom
does.
feeds her up to now.
His family, his whole family.
My mom buys
Maybe
his groceries. What are you talking about? Like he has it good.
but he's the bunso though. He's the bunso. I mean, I'm
No,
not
it's
saying
it's
it's an.
Cariz is the bunso.
Oh
Reese
no, no,
is the
you're right. You're
bunso.
right. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right.
Right?
Caris is like, okay. Hold on. Why is that the case? Well, obviously because he's the one that probably needs it. Why would your
Obviously,
mom buy
because
you?
he's an asshole.
Why would your mom buy
Because
you
obviously
groceries?
he's an
Okay.
asshole.
Here's the thing. Okay, so would you rather exchange places with him and be the one asking for groceries, or
No,
be
I
where you
would
are now?
want him to grow up. That's what I want. I don't want to
Then,
exchange places with him.
but if he,
Grow up.
but then if he grows up, then your mom won't have to buy him groceries, right? Then that would
That would
suck
be
for
a
your.
good thing for my mom, I guess.
No, because it gives her purpose. It makes her feel still needed as a mom. Because you're also
Probably,
independent and all
probably.
wealthy and shit now. That your
Still,
mom's neglected.
still.
She feels like they don't need me
I mean,
anymore.
okay,
Except for
buying
my one
groceries, all
son.
right, fine. But at least you pay for your gas. I mean, gas is expensive right now. At least pay for your own gas.
Dude, when
Dude,
I got dude, I'm that guy. I can relate to DJ Miko because when I got married, I have an aunt from the UK who sent money for for the flowers of the wedding. My other aunt sent flowers for money for the
dude.
cake. I
Yeah,
mean, it
of
was
course
everybody could.
it's the wedding.
I f- I felt like a charity case. I was like a
Yeah,
GoFundMe,
dude, it's a wedding. That's how we do it in the Philippines.
No, but like nobody
But
did that for
dude,
my sisters. Nobody did that for me. They all spent their own money.
yeah,
Like
they're
nobody.
Americans. What are you talking about? They're Americans. They're in America. Of course. Nobody's
Yes,
gonna
I
do that for
know.
them.
But the people who
We're in
sent the
the
money are
Philippines.
also based overseas, so they don't have that sentiment
Yeah.
anymore.
Because they know what the situation is there.
That's
Right?
true. That's true.
Of course. That's fine.
That's
That
true.
that
That
happened to
that's
me.
true.
That happened to me too.
Ethiopia doesn't send money to Bahrain, right? I
Exactly.
mean,
Exactly. What are you
I
talking
get.
about?
All right. Yeah,
Anyway,
that's true.
okay. Okay, let's all right. Before we go, going back to that like work thing. You know what? No, I don't think I have the patience for assholes because I think I lost my yeah, I lost my nerve at some point, you know? I lost my shit in one of the radio stations I worked at because I
Really,
just couldn't take it. Dude, I
really.
couldn't really take it because they were acting like here's the thing. There are people who could like be assholes and you'd be like, all right, fine. You know, I mean, yeah, they're in the position. It's okay. I would take your shit, right? Like, all right, I'll take your shit. But then these people, they didn't have they were not in the position.
Oh, that's
I
worse.
don't I don't think they deserve to be assholes. You know what I'm saying? Like
I worked at a radio station like that too. Not that I
I was
worked
like,
at
what
many,
the?
but
Who the hell who the hell? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Who the hell do they think they are?
who
Like,
died
what
and
the
made you
fuck?
God? Who died and made you God?
Exactly. So I just lost my shit, and we were like, we were in a meeting, and dude, I went off. I really went off. I said a lot of offensive things,
You see, you didn't
and
need a book for that. You didn't need a book for that. What are you talking about? It's you. It's
I
all
didn't even
you.
regret it. Up to this day, I didn't regret it. I'm like, dude, I said a lot of cruel things that day, but I was like, fuck it. No,
Really?
you know what? You need to be put in your
Okay.
place.
How many people are we talking about here? How many talking? One, two, the whole bunch,
All right.
all
Okay.
of them,
There were like two people there. There were like
and they
two,
were
three people
bullying you.
maybe, and they were like
They were
the girls who were there were probably like in
assholes.
cahoots with them, but they were not like totally, like you know how girls are. So I could tolerate girls. Like girls, they you know what I'm saying. But then the guys, I'm just like,
They're
no, they
moody.
shouldn't be
Girls are
doing this.
moody,
Yeah.
but guys should.
I
Yeah,
mean,
guys
so the
should be.
girls, I was like, it wasn't really meant for the girls, but it was for the guys when they started talking about that shit. And my friend Ron, who was like also a radio DJ there, a former radio DJ at that radio station, and he was already a medical representative at that time, and he was like working for us for free. He was moonlighting as a as a co-host, and he
Mhm.
was there at the meeting, and I just went off, man, and I was like, I just like went off with with everybody. I just like said my piece. It was like here. What did I say? I was like, okay. He, I told him I was just like I was so mad, and I just like went off. I said like, all right, I'm the best radio DJ in this radio station. Do not forget that. I am the guy who rakes in
You were the
the
most popular.
ratings.
Yeah.
I'm the only guy who I am the only person people listen to in this radio station. I said that nobody gives a shit about
Well,
you guys. Nobody. If you think that that people give a shit about you, no, they don't. And if you want to challenge me, if you want to challenge my statement, you challenge me
survey,
now
survey.
because I am telling you, you don't know shit and you are not doing shit here. And I
What
am
was the
the only
problem?
guy
What was the
who's
issue?
no, I was just like so mad because they were acting like I heard something, and I just went, I just went nuts,
Ballistic.
and I went ballistic that day. I was like, no, you know what? If you think if you think you're great, I will. I said like I will dare you to a duel. I don't know how it would go, but I would dare you to a duel on air, and we'll see who's who. And if you think you're really that good, you're not. And I was like, I was telling them these things, and yeah, I think it put them in their place, right? Yeah,
Well
and
deserved. Well deserved.
but maybe that was one of the things that because that person that one of those people went to another radio station and worked there. That probably what started it. He could probably have said something there, and it went. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. See,
Because I
that's
would say like that guy was like I would say like he's a sneaky asshole. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
He's a sneaky asshole. He's not like an asshole, but he's like a sneaky
Yeah.
asshole.
You find
He's like
out later on. It's like you find out
yeah,
later on that
right.
okay, asshole
So
batong
that
gago
could
na
be
to,
it.
and
So
then
when he was there already, then he probably said something. Then everybody thought that that was the real me that day. It could be, but I don't know. And it spiraled out of control. And yeah,
at
so
least we're transparent assholes, right? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like we don't try to pass off as whatever. I mean, come on, all they have to do is listen to our show for like 15 minutes. It will come out, right? Our true colors will show up. They don't have to sneak anything in.
the
They'll be
asshole show. This should be the asshole show.
that's right. That's right. You know what? Yeah. You're right. That's
No,
right.
because you see, when
Because I
I
think
worked
we are.
with okay,
For people
when
who
I
don't
worked
know us, they
with
might think that.
everybody, like our batch, I don't think there was an asshole amongst us. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think so. Like we all
Filipinos
respected
are generally
our
nice. Filipinos are
right,
generally nice. Dude, trust me.
right.
I've worked in the US. There are assholes there. They have psychological issues, these
But no, I
people. I
mean
mean,
with Killer
Filipinos are
B,
generally
like
nice.
well, like with our batch, like I've heard stories from several radio stations who like people were actually
Horror stories. Like horror
like
stories from back in the
yeah,
day.
they
But
actually got violent to each other
but
because
none during our
they couldn't
batch.
stand not with us because we respected each other. We respected each other's way of
Yeah,
handling the
even when you
show.
didn't show up
We
for Mao's
respected each
wedding to host it, we didn't get in the fight. He was
exactly,
fine.
exactly. You
He
know what?
just
I
said
respected that. You know
we
what?
were fine,
He
right?
he deserved to get mad at me, right? What
But
I
he wasn't
didn't
like
like was
you were even there. You
like
were
when his
fine.
friends got mad at me, right? But he deserved to
Yeah, but if you
like to
were
be
an
mad at me
asshole,
up
something
to
would have
now.
happened. But you're not, so it means you're not.
Yeah, I
You know what I'm
know.
saying? Because I mean,
I
you
tried to
are nice.
explain to him, and it's a good thing that Billiken also came to my defense. Like, you can't like, you can't fault this guy right now because, like, I have to, I have to answer to, I have to answer to the manager,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Where did he
I have
win?
to do my job, right? It
Yeah,
was like, I don't know, like, yeah, it was.
yeah,
I think.
yeah. But you can't take away the fact that he hosted his own wedding.
Okay, here's the thing. It was a bad case of miscommunication, and I feel really bad. But in hindsight, you know what? It could have been one of the like. Okay,
See,
who did that? Right? Like, okay, I mean,
no,
Chuck
it
would like
worked
tell
out
me,
fine.
dude.
It
I
worked
know it
out
worked out fine. I
fine.
mean,
I
but yet,
mean,
you know what? Up to this day, I would say that Chuck like still has that
no,
ill
no,
feeling
no.
towards
I
the
know why you
Like,
didn't show up
I
there.
would,
You
I
probably
would,
think.
I would.
I
Okay,
know
all
why
right.
you didn't show up
Even if
there.
Chuck, e-
You probably thought, oh, there's gonna be Chuck's friends. There's gonna be a lot of assholes there.
no, no. That wasn't the case. That wasn't the case. But here's the
But
thing.
then
Here's
it
the thing.
backfired. Now
Even
they
if
all
Chuck
thought you
stays,
were the asshole because you didn't show
I
up.
know, I know.
The Iceman's an asshole.
Like even if right, like even if Chuck would say like, no, that's water under the bridge, no hard feelings, whatever, dude. no, no, I doubt it. I would say that up to this day, he still has that ill feeling a little bit. Like not probably
No,
like I really hate
no,
you,
no,
but
no.
he would
Mom's not
still
like
have that
that.
ill. Like, dude, I would like if that happened to me,
No, mom's not.
I would take it to my grave. What are you talking about? I would take it to my
No, no,
grave if
mom's not
I
like that.
really, really
Yeah,
no. I'm telling you, if you hosted your own wedding, wouldn't you be mad at the person who's supposed to host your wedding?
dude,
Come on,
dude.
tell me
And here,
honestly.
no, no. But here's the
Tell me
thing too.
honestly.
Here's the thing too. Like for me, I mean, I was actually kind of envious because I don't know if I was closer to Mao at the time than you were, but or we were close already. But he could have asked me. He never asked me. Like he asked you. I mean, I would have done it. I mean, like you know what I'm saying? It's like, but he
But
asked you. So there must have been like he must have
right?
been like, oh, Iceman's the only
So
one who's a legit
it,
host here because you were like doing the hosting for most of the
it
time during our
only
events,
means
right?
but
It hurts
now
him
it
more.
means
That hurt
that
him more. That hurt
no,
him
no, no,
more.
no. It means that now he feels the same way. I should have asked Rod instead of that asshole guy.
Now I know who the
But
asshole is.
but here's the thing. Like, okay, 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 I believe you 90% that maybe Chuck doesn't hold ill feeling towards what happened,
He
but
doesn't.
I would still have that 10% that and I would understand if he does because dude, who
He
like
doesn't.
man
No.
hosting your own wedding,
You,
that's crazy, man.
you
That's
know,
crazy. And
Chuck
I'm
is the
just
type of
glad that it all worked out. But
you know,
I
Chuck
mean, I
is the
still
type
feel
of
bad
person
too.
who he for him character counts more than performance. You know what I'm saying? And I think for the most part, we're all at that stage. He introduced the sponsor and then
Jasper, Jasper, do not, do not add fire. Do not add wood to the fire.
he's the group. Jasper. Okay like sana Jasper. Okay like Jasper if you know taga Boulevard or wherever this person is. I'm not saying that, but I mean like if it's a small scale
Do
wedding.
not pour
You know
kerosene on
Mao.
the fire. What do you?
Mouse
No, it's not even.
mouse
It's
guests
gasoline, man. Or you're
Mouse
actually.
guests are VIPs. Mouse guests are VIPs. Can you imagine being stressed out about your wedding day and then you have to stress out because you're the host? I mean, just being the host alone, that's freaking stressful. Imagine it's also your wedding day. Like,
Okay, my
dude,
fault.
that's
My
double
fault.
stress for him, man. That's why he was so drunk that night. He got him so super drunk when I saw him when we arrived there at the Las Terrazas.
I'm
He
just
was super,
thankful that he didn't hit me.
like,
He could have hit me, and that would have been
no, no, no.
justified. No,
No.
I know, because he's a decent guy, and he told me up,
He's not a
like
decent
to
guy.
my
He just
face.
he just likes you. Like your character is more important to him, outweighed the fact that you didn't show up at
He
time.
said it to
And
my face. He was mad at me. He said it to my face, and I apologized to him. Billy
yeah, he
Kane,
said bye, right?
stood
I
by
remember we
me.
were
Yeah,
together. We were
yeah, yeah, yeah,
together
yeah.
when we arrived. He was
And I
like,
felt bad, really. If he punched me in the face, I would have understood. I wouldn't have retaliated. I deserve that. I would say that I deserve that. And up to this day, like I told you, if he holds like I know he said it's nothing, but I doubt it. Like I would think because I would feel bad if that happened to me. So even if I have forgiven the person and I'm okay with the person, but still I would be if I think of that day, I would be like fuck that guy.
no, no, because we think about it. It's different if it's like he knew maybe a couple of days in advance that okay, I can't host it. I have to be the one who hosts it. That's fine. I'll come up with something. But very spur of the moment, he had to be the one. Otherwise, there would be no reception party. That's what made it
Exactly.
tough. Because I
Yeah,
mean,
because I thought the freaking okay. Here's the thing. I thought the freaking motorcade would finish on time, and you know how
yeah,
demanding our manager is. You
yeah.
know how demanding our manager
It
is,
started
right? You
late. And
know
it
that
started late. It
it
started
started
late.
late. So
Yeah, it started
to
late.
be perfectly clear, I wanted to be there. Like you really do. But then I have a job. And it's like I couldn't get out of it because I was in the middle of the motorcade. How can
Yeah,
I get out of there?
that's why
I was in the middle of the motorcade.
I felt bad for Mao because
Right?
that
But
was
then
like his
it's
wedding,
still
and
like
none of us were there. None
right?
of us were there.
So now if like okay, we're okay, Chuck's probably okay with it because he's a nice person or whatever. But then if there are times that he would like sit down and like if like if he strolls down a memory lane, it would go back to that particular day. Like he'd be like, "What the fuck?" Like if he
Okay, hold
says
on.
"fuck that guy," I
Okay,
would understand that.
going back to
I would be
assholes.
okay with it.
You have to admit the first time you heard or met Mao, you probably thought he was an asshole, right? I think
Well, I heard stories.
I you know what
From the
the fu-
stories that I heard, I didn't like him, right? But I
yeah
didn't pass a judgment on him. I was like,
but
well,
you
they
but you
said
know
he's
what
like this.
the good thing is I knew him. I met him because I was the guy who took his place after he left UR. So I knew him before I even heard about him. So that's the
Right.
good thing. Like, not that I would have judged him, but like in my case with you, it's like I heard about you before I met you, but I still didn't pass judgment because when you did the show, I was like, I mean, I've heard Howard Stern, I've heard all these. It wasn't like it didn't sound arrogant to me, but to Filipino ears, it would sound arrogant, right? Every time you're
Probably.
opinionated,
Yeah.
immediately people will be like, that person's arrogant. But now, imagine back in the day, if you had someone like Stephen A. Smith back in the day with politically correct, guys like, we were doing was that guy who died already? But anyways, like nobody in the NBA had to, the guys who did the shows, the host, none of them were like that opinionated. Now, literally, like Stephen A. Smith can say like, that guy is whatever. Our ears are trained for it already now. But back then, they weren't trained for Chris Rock, So you were kind of ahead of your time, and we and that's why people had that opinion about you. Whereas with me, my ears were already trained because Americans are very frank. They don't sugarcoat shit. If they don't like you, they don't like you. They don't care if you're rich or poor. People have arguments at in McDonald's line, while you're paying for something just because somebody wasn't doing the right thing. In the Philippines, it's kind of harder for people to be more vocal, and that's why you kind of like,
Right.
you know,
Right.
you were the trailblazer of Davao radio when it came to
Yeah.
that. But anyways, yeah.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
yeah, we all thought Mao was an asshole, but he wasn't. He's like, I'm thinking who I thought was there has to be some people who I thought were, because I didn't think you were an asshole. I didn't think Mao was an asshole, but I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if people thought they were. I'm trying to think of somebody that we both know who I really thought was an asshole, and like when I met him, really he wasn't really. Um, I mean, I don't know. I met Joe too before I actually worked with him. I met him at a party. Mr. Bass introduced me to him when we were at Spams, and we had a trance dance techno, whatever techno party we had for UR, and I was removing the tarpaulin and stuff at Spams, and Joe showed up so drunk, and then Don came up to me and said, "Bye, that's Joe Fisher from Killer B," and like, oh, and I walked up to him. I said, "Bye, bye." Shook my hand. He was cool. He was smiling. So that was it. We didn't really get to talk too much, but I didn't think he was an asshole. But you know what? You know what I think, guys? During
yeah.
those times when we were having parties and stuff, I bet whenever we walked in Auto Shop, Octane, whatever, I bet the guys who were in there were all thinking one thing.
Assholes.
Yeah, you're the asshole.
We
I
walk
just
in and
have
you'd be
that
like,
feel.
oh,
I
the
just have,
assholes are here.
plus the owner comes up to, offer us drinks and
All
food and
right.
shit. And like, yeah, we could have gotten beat up that time if some insecure guys were there. Anyways, mao na dagan libakero sa Pinas kay hilom lang. Yes, exactly. At least that's right. Libak is real. But
All right.
anyway, we'll do that in another episode. We'll talk about
All right.
Libak
Okay.
and Marites and all
So
that shit.
Saturday, or like, no, I
You have
get something on
something?
Saturday.
Yeah, I bet
Fuck.
you have something. It's okay. It's
All
okay.
right.
Let me know if you can do Sunday or
No, I
Monday.
mean somebody's like having a birthday party, and well, we might be back before whatever. Like, well, do you have something on Saturday?
Not no. Next Saturday. Yeah,
Like,
not this
if you
Saturday.
don't, then well, we usually start at 9. Then I
Yeah,
I
yeah,
could probably still make it.
yeah.
We're
Let me
just
know.
going out for dinner, so it could be 9:30. So it's fine.
Just
Like,
message
we're
me.
gonna be
If I
back
don't
on
reply,
Saturday.
you can message the wifey and she will tell me because she's always on Facebook.
All
I'm
right.
not.
Okay.
So I might
But
be
Saturday,
playing.
that's like 90% Saturday. All right.
Okay.
Saturday.
All right.
We'll do the show. Thanks for the 3 people who listened to us tonight. It's a slow night, but
Yeah,
well, thanks a lot.
they're assholes too, so they get
Yeah, they're
us.
assholes. Like the assholes are present. So thanks a lot
All right.
for joining
The
us.
guys,
And,
the guys who I thought
celebrating
were
with
gonna
us.
give advice and stuff, like the guy from
Joe
Australia,
Boy.
Joe Boy, and
Like, I know
Ron, and all
like
these
they're
guys.
probably
What
busy.
the heck, man? What a bunch of
Okay,
assholes!
yeah, what a bunch of assholes. Yeah, let's bring it up on
That's an asshole
Saturday.
move.
Let's bring it up on Saturday. All right.
Yeah.
So thanks a lot for being with us, Dexter, Jasper, and the other person. Yeah, this has been the Yogi Show with Rodriguez and Iceman, and we are out. You'll see the assholes again on Saturday. Good night.
All right.